Chapter 45. Run. These two brats are too strange. The other two war soul stage cultivators gathered beside him and fled with their masters in a sorry state. The crazy Bai Juanhao was about to give chase when Lin Shun patted his shoulder and injected his mental power into his mind, calling back his consciousness. Big brother Lin Shun, Bai Juanhao, looked at Lin Shun in confusion. Lin Shun smiled. 14. Congratulations, your Azure Dragon bloodline has awakened. Next, it is time for you to transform. Big brother Lin Shun, I think I won. Bai Juanhao was about to be ecstatic, but before he could cheer, his eyelids drooped and he fainted. Lin Shun supported him and shook his head with a smile. He then picked up the light green attribute light balls that dropped around him, and the system screen popped up. Host has received 10 points of Azure Dragon bloodline. After absorbing this attribute light ball, the injuries on the Azure Dragon arm were immediately healed, and its power had faintly increased. A very high-quality Azure Dragon bloodline. It seems like there is a chance to fully awaken his bloodline before heading to the Sky Song Academy. My Azure Dragon arm can also reach a higher level. Lin Shun was overjoyed and picked up wildly in the backyard. This time, Bai Juanhao dropped 20 attribute light balls. Host has received 12 points of Azure Dragon bloodline, 9 points of Azure Dragon bloodline, 16 points of Azure Dragon bloodline, 15 points of Azure Dragon bloodline, 20 points of Azure Dragon bloodline. These were all attribute light balls of the Azure Dragon bloodline. Lin Shun's Azure Dragon arm began to transform rapidly. The Azure Dragon baleful aura in his left arm was getting stronger and stronger. Lin Shun had a premonition that the next time he truly released the Azure Dragon arm, he would be invincible below the 5th level of the Earth realm. Late at night, in Bai Juanhao's room, his eyelids moved. When he woke up, he found himself soaking in a medicinal bath. Lin Shun was sitting on the bed in front of him, cultivating. What exactly happened to me today? Bai Juanhao seemed to have noticed the changes in his body and sized himself up in surprise. Bai Juanhao discovered that there was an additional Azure Dragon scale in his mind. As long as his consciousness connected to this Azure Dragon scale, an endless stream of energy would surge out. Are you awake? You should know what happened today, right? Sitting cross-legged on the bed, Lin Shun opened his eyes and smiled at Bai Juanhao. Big brother Lin Shun, am I really a possessor of the Azure Dragon bloodline? Bai Juanhao's eyes brimmed with tears of joy as he asked in disbelief. Why don't you try it yourself? Lin Shun smiled. Bai Juanhao trembled as he activated the green scale in his mind. Boom! A powerful shockwave swept out from Bai Juanhao. His pupils had turned green, and there was a vertical green mark in the center. Dragon scales covered his body, and his palm was like a dragon claw. A light green attribute ball dropped out. Lin Shun stood up and picked it up as he smiled at Bai Juanhao. How do you feel? So powerful, so powerful. 10,000 tiger power? Not just that, far more than that. Ha ha ha. Bai Juanhao looked up and laughed heartily. Juanhao, you probably think that you're already very powerful, right? Suddenly, Lin Shun said in an indifferent tone. Bai Juanhao immediately put away the complacency and ecstasy he had just felt and said with shame. Big brother Lin Shun, I was indeed smug just now, but I won't be conceited easily. There's always someone better than me. Bai Juanhao clenched his fists with determination. It's best that you think that way. Your Azure Dragon bloodline is in the awakening stage, and now is the best time for you to fully control it. Moreover, your attack pattern is too simple and can only be used as a trump card. You can't easily expose it in front of an expert, where your opponent will easily find a flaw and target it. Now, you have to practice more body-tempering battle techniques and use the various attack methods you have. You have to temper your body to refine your chi. Bai Juanhao remembered Lin Shun's warning in his heart. The two of them got up in the middle of the night and cultivated in the backyard. Fortunately, Bai Juanhao had already been spurned by the Bai family, and no one disturbed their cultivation in the courtyard. In the next 6 days, Lin Shun was only in charge of training Bai Juanhao. Every time Bai Juanhao became more familiar with controlling his Azure Dragon bloodline, he would drop an attribute light ball of the Azure Dragon bloodline. It was a great supplement for Lin Chen's Azure Dragon arm. Those hedonistic disciples also did not disturb Bai Juanhao and Lin Chen. It was like the calm before the storm. On the 10th afternoon of Lin Chen's arrival at the Bai family, a white-robed servant pushed open the door to the courtyard. Young Master Juanhao is still alive and kicking. Didn't they say that the Mo and Chao families came to cause trouble a few days ago? The white-clothed manservant muttered and then continued to shout. Young Master Bai Juanhao, the elders have something to ask you to go to the main hall. With that, the servant turned and left, not caring if the person inside heard him. This attitude was enough to show how low Bai Juanhao's status in the family was. The two of them in the courtyard stopped their training and looked at each other. Big brother Lin Chun, the family seems to have something to ask me to go over. Maybe it's those fellows who came to cause trouble a few days ago. I'll go with you. The main hall of the Bai family was covered with a red carpet and decorated with lanterns and streamers. Today, the Bai family had set up a grand banquet with hundreds of tables. The atmosphere was jubilant. Today is the big day of my engagement with Mengfei. Everyone, let's drink to our heart's content. In the main hall of the Bai family, a tall young man in embroidered clothes raised his cup and laughed. Many guests raised their cups and drank. In the young man's arms, there was a charming little girl who was laughing. In the main hall of the main hall, there were a few respected white-haired elders. No one dared to sit beside them. Everyone, today is the engagement day of my son, Bai Xiaohui. Thank you all for coming. The friends who are here today and the friends who sent the gifts have also given our Bai family some face. In the main hall, a middle-aged man with sharp eyebrows spoke. Everyone fell silent. This was the current head of the Bai family, Bai Xiong. Just as everyone was listening, the young man's shocked and angry roar echoed throughout the main hall. Second uncle, cousin, what's going on? Sister Mengfei. Everyone looked over and saw Bai Juanhao's figure suddenly appear at the entrance of the main hall. Oh, so it's nephew Juanhao. I thought you were sick these 2 days and was about to send someone to call you. Bai Xiong saw Bai Juanhao appear and smiled disdainfully. Juanhao, today is the engagement day of your cousin and Mengfei. I believe you'll give them your blessings, right? Many people present looked at Bai Juanhao with ridicule. It would be better if Bai Juanhao didn't appear today. His appearance would only make him lose face in Luori City. Isn't Sister Mengfei my fiancée? How can today be cousin's engagement day? Bai Juanhao gritted his teeth and stared at Lu Mengfei in Bai Xiaohui's arms with red eyes. Bai Juanhao, can you be more shameless? With your current appearance, you still want to be a toad lusting after a swan? Why don't you take a look at yourself in the mirror? Which part of you is worthy of me now? Only a talented man like your cousin Xiaohui is my Mr. Right. As a person, the most important thing is to know your own limits. Lu Mengfei glanced at Bai Juanhao and pursed her lips in disdain. The guests burst into laughter. Today, not only had Bai Juanhao's engagement been broken off, his cousin had also snatched his bride away. In the future, he wouldn't even be able to be a person in Luori City. Chapter 46. Cousin, get lost if you know what's good for you. Grandfather has been dead for so many years. The family has been benevolent enough to raise a good-for-nothing like you for more than 10 years. Don't make a fool of yourself here. Bai Xiaohui put on a fake smile. Usually, if Bai Juanhao dared to talk back, he would have punched him to the ground. Today, he did not flare up on account of the guests and elders. Could it be that all the elders have agreed to this matter? Even if I, Bai Juanhao, no longer have any status in the Bai family, you should at least respect my late grandfather. Bai Juanhao shouted himself hoarse as he questioned the elders in the main hall. Juanhao, we were planning to inform you about this matter today. Forget it, Juanhao. For your grandfather's sake, we will compensate you. You can leave today. There's nothing else for you to do. The two elders shook their heads and sighed softly. Hearing this answer, Bai Juanhao's eyes were bloodshot. He clenched his fists like a furious beast that was about to go berserk. Ha ha! Suddenly, He threw his head back and laughed. What a good compensation. All these years, you've been forcing me to give in by proposing this so-called compensation step by step. Compensation, my ass. Bai Juanhao cursed angrily. He had lost control of his emotions and was about to go berserk. The thousands of guests were surprised. What kind of courage did this kid eat today to dare to talk back to the elders and ruin his cousin's event? Looks like I've been too modest to this little bastard. Bai Xiong smiled coldly and was about to suppress Bai Juanhao personally. The youth's reprimand attracted everyone's attention again. Juanhao, what are you saying? Do you know how to speak? The sudden reprimand caused by Juanhao, who was about to go berserk, to regain his senses. Lin Chun swaggered in and patted Bai Juanhao's shoulder with a meaningful tone. Bai Juanhao immediately nodded and apologized cautiously. I'm sorry, big brother Lin. I couldn't control myself just now. It won't happen again. That's right. How could he speak to the elders like that on his cousin's big day? He was simply disrespecting his elders. Who knew that Lin Chen's answer would make everyone's jaws drop? This little mouth of yours, do you know how to speak? If you know how to talk, then talk more. Just now, your mouth seemed to have been smeared with honey. Big brother strongly requests that you must be like this next time. If anyone bullies you in the future, you can beat them up. If they're more ruthless than you, you can be 10 times more ruthless than them. Bai Xiong looked uncertain as he sized up Lin Chun. Brat, who are you? Who I am is none of your business. You only need to know that Bai Juanhao is under my protection today. Let him settle his own matters. It's not up to you to interfere. Lin Chen's domineering aura gave Bai Juanhao great confidence. Turning to look at Lu Mengfei, Lin Chen said with a faint smile, You said that Juanhao isn't worthy of you, right? In my opinion, you're not even qualified to be his maid. If you're not convinced, then prove it with your strength. Go. Tell everyone that you don't need this kind of trash. Make her apologize. Let's see who's not worthy of whom. He patted Bai Juanhao on the back. With Lin Chen bolstering him, Bai Juanhao straightened his back and waved his hand. Little sister Mengfei, no, Miss Lu Mengfei. Today I, Bai Juanhao, officially cancel our engagement. We no longer have anything to do with each other. I demand that you apologize for your rudeness just now. Bai Juanhao changed his usual style and became very firm. Lu Mengfei clenched her teeth and was about to speak when Bai Xiaohui blocked her and said with a fake smile, Cousin is quite capable. I don't know where you found a savage to support you. Since you don't think you're trash, then Cousin will give you a chance to prove it. As long as you can last 10 moves against me, I'll apologize on behalf of Mengfei. How about it? Bai Xiaohui's words caused everyone to laugh or sigh. Bai Xiaohui was the son of the current head of the family, Bai Xiongba. He was not even 24 years old and was already at the 8th level of the spirit detection realm. He had many of the Bai family's secrets and inheritances. He was so strong that even someone at the 9th level of the spirit detection realm might not be able to last more than 10 moves against him. With this kind of talent and strength, even in an ancient sect, he would be at the core of a core disciple. Even if Bai Juanhao had some fortuitous encounter that gave him the confidence, it was impossible for him to become a fatty in one bite. It was even more impossible for him to fight with Bai Xiaohui with his qi refinement realm cultivation. Not to mention 10 moves, as long as Bai Xiaohui wanted to, Bai Juanhao would die with just one thought and one move. How about it? Do you dare to take 10 moves? Lin Chen retreated to Bai Juanhao's side and said with a mocking smile. Thinking about the hellish training he had gone through during this period of time, Bai Juanhao's face revealed a smile that was as firm as a rock. 10 moves it is then. The moment he said this, the entire crowd burst into laughter and ridicule. It seems like water has entered Bai Juanhao's head. He really doesn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. If it wasn't for the elders remembering their old relationship, no one would even collect his corpse. He actually dares to challenge Cousin Xiaohui. Cousin Xiaohui only needs one move to take his life. A few days ago, I saw him take a bunch of low-level yellow-class body refinement techniques from the battle technique chamber. Who knows, he might have obtained some peerless battle technique. He's so awesome. Ha ha. The many disciples of the Bai family mocked him nonstop. Bai Juanhao faced them calmly. He had experienced this ridicule and doubt countless times over the years. Old fellows, you've seen it too. It was this fellow who agreed. If he dies in the hands of my Xiaohui later, you can't blame us. He's the one who asked for it. Bai Xiong shrugged his shoulders and laughed coldly at the elders sitting in the main hall. He was still thinking about how to deal with the two of them, but he didn't expect Bai Juanhao to seek his own death. Forget it. Since this fellow chose his own path, his life and death will be up to fate. The bald elder among the three elders shook his head and sighed. He seemed to have given up on Bai Juanhao. Everyone, please wait for a moment. After this small interlude, we'll continue drinking. Bai Xiaohui waved his hand, and the servants began to move away part of the banquet, creating a wide space. I have to say, cousin, you're very lucky. Today is your cousin's big day. It's not suitable to kill, so you've managed to keep your life. Bai Xiaohui walked to the center of the empty space. He raised his eyebrows and shook his head with a sneer. We still don't know who's the one who has managed to keep his life. After gaining power, Bai Juanhao was completely different from before. He became fierce and domineering, and he had a bit of Lin Chen's aura. This made Lin Chen feel gratified. This little brother of his finally had some class. A good-for-nothing from the family has become quite stubborn. I hope he can still talk big after the fight. Bai Xiaohui's face darkened instantly. This Bai Juanhao had ruined his plans again and again today. His temper wasn't that good. Even if he couldn't kill him immediately, Bai Xiaohui had 10 ways to make him suffer. Everyone at the scene had the attitude of watching a show. Some of them even drank by themselves, interested to see how Bai Xiaohui would deal with this fellow. Wait a minute. Just as Bai Xiaohui was about to approach Bai Juanhao with a cruel smile, Lin Chen suddenly spoke up. This fight isn't fair. It's very unfair. Lin Chen said in all seriousness. His expression was abnormally solemn. Chapter 47. Many people were laughing out loud at Lin Chen's words. Some of them were even about to cry from laughing. These two brats were more arrogant than anyone else just now. But now they're complaining about how unfair it is? Where do they find these weirdos? Wasn't this a slap to their own faces? Unfair? Ha ha! It's indeed a little unfair. Why don't we change the rules? He only needs to take 2 moves from me, and I'll apologize on behalf of Meng Fei. How about that? Bai Xiaohui sneered and looked at Lin Chen with disdain. No. Lin Chen shook his head seriously. Ha ha ha. Cousin Xiaohui, Cousin Juanhao, they're scared. Just give in to them again. 1 move is enough. The young people of the Bai family laughed. Bai Juanhao looked at Lin Chen in confusion. How about it? I'll take another step back. If he can take 1 move from me, it'll be my loss. Bai Xiaohui flicked his fingernails and said impatiently. In his opinion, there was no difference between 1 move and 10 moves. No. Everyone has misunderstood me. I'm saying that this battle is too unfair to Mr. Bai Xiaohui. It's very unfair. Who knew that Lin Chen's answer would make everyone confused? An 8th-tier spirit detecting cultivator against a 1st-tier chi refinement cultivator was unfair to a spirit detecting cultivator? Let's change the rules. If he can take 10 moves from Juanhao, it'll be our loss. Lin Chen crossed his legs and smiled, making all the guests at the scene stare with their mouths agape. Did I hear wrongly? He wants to say that if Cousin Bai Xiaohui can take 10 moves from Bai Juanhao, it'll be Cousin Xiaohui's win? I thought I heard wrongly too. Wasn't this the F*** opposite? Did he think that Bai Juanhao was only at the spirit detecting realm, and Bai Xiaohui was at the chi refinement realm? Some of the older generation cultivators who wanted to treat it as a joke were also looking at Lin Chen in shock. How ignorant and bold did he have to be to make such a request? Could it be that he wanted to play some kind of trick? I think you're F*** crazy. Bai Xiaohui was furious. He felt that he had been severely humiliated by Lin Chen. Don't be angry, Mr. Xiaohui. I'm doing this for your sake. My little brother, Juanhao, is an exceptional genius. I'm worried that something might happen to you. Lin Chen's serious appearance made everyone laugh out loud. Big brother Lin Chen? Bai Juanhao looked at Lin Chen in confusion. He did not understand what Lin Chen was trying to do. What? You're not confident? Don't you want to take back everything you've lost? Lin Chen smiled mockingly and said, there can only be one Bai Xiaowei or Bai Juanhao in the Bai family, right? I'm confident. Bai Juanhao's fighting spirit was boiling as he nodded fiercely. Cousin Juanhao, I have to say that you were killed by a lunatic. Bai Xiaowei turned his neck and revealed a cruel smile. Just as Bai Xiaowei was about to attack again, Lin Chen spoke again. Wait. Damn it. Are you done yet? Lin Chen looked like he was deep in thought. Then, he shook his head slowly and said seriously again. I emphasize fairness, and F*King fairness when I do things. I still feel that 10 moves is unfair to Mr. Bai Xiaowei. Lin Chen's words made many people go crazy. What kind of F*King fair was this? So, I've decided to let Miss Lu Mengfei come as well. As the saying goes, to catch a thief, you have to take the dirt. To beat a traitor, you have to beat both of them. If you want to fight, you have to fight both of them. Juanhao, are you confident? Yes. Bai Juanhao shouted passionately. Lin Chen and Bai Juanhao's question and answer made everyone fall into silence. A deathly silence. All the guests looked at Lin Chen and Bai Juanhao in a daze. Today, everyone present redefined and doubted the concept of fairness. Suddenly, a young man asked the old man beside him, Senior, this is fairness? How the F***CK would I know what fairness is? This old man's eyes have been F***king open today. Then what exactly is fairness? Why don't you ask him? Why are you asking me? What is F***king fairness? All the men and women, old and young, asked Lin Chen madly in unison. Fairness means to let this F***king pair come at the same time. Fairness means that if this F***king pair can last 10 moves under Bai Juanhao's hands, it'll be Bai Juanhao's loss. Lin Chen's voice was as loud as a bell, and it reverberated in everyone's ears. F***, I'll kill you first. Bai Xiaowei couldn't take it anymore. He was so angry that he locked on a Lin Chen and was about to attack. Enough. Xiaowei, don't panic. Bai Xiong shouted and suppressed Bai Xiaowei. Mengfei, go up too. Let him say what he wants. It doesn't matter who will last 10 moves. Today, I'll allow you to see blood. The Bai family's reputation isn't something that could be easily tarnished. If there isn't a satisfactory outcome today, neither of them will be able to leave this hall alive. Bai Xiong was completely enraged by Lin Chen. Lin Chen's words were a provocation to the entire Bai family. Bai Xiong said to Lin Chen with killing intent, if he dies in Xiaohui's hands, don't even think about escaping. If Bai Juanhao can't do it, I'll die with him. Lin Chen's domineering aura leaked out as he confronted Bai Xiong. Lu Mengfei looked at him coldly. She walked like the wind and arrived beside Bai Xiaowei. Her talent was second only to Bai Xiaowei. She was already at the 6th level of the spirit detecting realm at the age of 22. If she teamed up with Bai Xiaowei, even a Battle Soul Realm middle stage warrior wouldn't be able to do anything to them. Mengfei, you don't have to do anything. Leave it to me. Lu Mengfei had just arrived beside Bai Xiaowei when he casually said that. He couldn't wait to rush towards Bai Juanhao. Soul, rending wind hand. Battle chi swept out, and the wind blew. 5 fingers wrapped around a dark green wind blade, aiming straight for Bai Juanhao's heart. Bai Xiaowei revealed his killing intent. The moment he attacked, he used a vicious move that made people wish they were dead. Everyone raised their heads in anticipation. Was this fearless arrogance, or was it a ploy? The outcome would be revealed in the next breath. Bang! An explosion resounded throughout the entire venue, and a hurricane swept up. No one dared to miss this moment, and they all looked over with rapt attention. What? All the elders of the Bai family, as well as those above the Battle Soul realm, stood up. Their expressions were filled with disbelief. Amidst the smoke and dust, Bai Xiaowei stood in front of Bai Juanhao. His palm stopped on Bai Juanhao's chest. On Bai Juanhao's chest, green scales could be faintly seen. Bai Juanhao stood proudly in the middle of the arena. Not to mention dying, Bai Xiaohui's attack didn't even make him take a step back. Bai Juanhao patted the dust off his shoulders, and the corner of his mouth curled into a domineering and arrogant smile. "Cousin, you didn't use any strength." Lin Shen sat in his seat and drank by himself. After taking a sip of the wine, Lin Shen casually put on his self-made sunglasses and clicked his tongue in wonder. "Who's acting cool? It's so dazzling." Chapter 48. At this moment, no one was not shocked. Bai Xiaohui's attack was enough to severely injure a Battle Soul Realm powerhouse. But Bai Juanhao did not even take a small step back. 100 Beasts Fist. Bai Juanhao raised his hand into a fist and used the most basic body refinement fist technique. The aura of the Azure Dragon howled like a hurricane. The moment Bai Juanhao swung his fist towards Bai Xiaohui's head, the latter's hair stood on end, as if he had fallen into an ice cellar. The power of this punch had already made him feel that death was approaching. Swish! Bai Xiaohui instinctively used his movement technique's highest speed and barely dodged Bai Juanhao's fist wind. Everyone could clearly hear that the moment Bai Juanhao swung his fist, an ear-piercing sonic boom rang out in the air. It was as if a meteor had fallen from the sky. Bang! Boom! The angry fist swung down, and the terrifying fist wind shook the sky full of dust and gravel. Just the wind from the fist caused the entire ground to crack inch by inch, and there were shocking cracks in all directions. The incomparably violent fist wind shook in all directions, overturning the banquet tables that had already moved hundreds of meters away. Countless delicacies were scattered all over the floor, drenching the guests with leftovers. What made the corners of many people's mouths twitch was that Lin Shen, who was sitting at the front, seemed to have predicted this outcome. He held an oil paper umbrella in his hand, wore a pair of black sunglasses, and held a wine glass in his hand. The corner of his mouth still had the same coquettish smile as before. The guests were all splashed with oil, but he was the only one holding an umbrella. However, everyone realized that the most important thing was Bai Juanhao. Just the wind from his fist had already swept in all directions. If that blow had landed, Bai Xiaohui would definitely have died. Bai Xiaohui, who had been blown to the side by the wind from the fist, lay on the ground, sweating profusely and his teeth chattering uncontrollably. Body refinement martial artist? Juanhao is the strongest body refinement martial artist. Out of the three elders, one of them roared with joy. 15,000 tiger power? Not only that, almost 20,000 tiger power. How is this possible? Where did this brat get his strength from? Bai Xiong's gaze was fixed on Bai Juanhao, as if he wanted to see through all of his secrets. However, no matter how hard he tried, all he could feel was the aura of a tyrant Azure Dragon. Other than that, he couldn't see through the limits of Bai Juanhao's strength. Stand up, Bai Xiaohui. Aren't you a genius? Bai Juanhao's aura surged, and his ferocious aura surged as he roared like a dragon. Looming Fei and Bai Xiaohui retreated in shock. Bai Xiaohui had no way to adapt to this sudden change in attitude. The roles of the prey and the hunter were instantly reversed. How can he be so strong? Isn't Bai Juanhao trash? Xiaohui, I'm so scared. Looming Fei's beautiful face turned pale as she trembled and shrank behind Bai Xiaohui. It was too terrifying. The current Bai Juanhao was like a true Azure Dragon possessing his body, a deity descending to the mortal world. Just the murderous aura between his brows and the faint dragon might was enough to intimidate the two of them. Since you don't dare to make a move, let me do it. Crack, crack. Bai Juanhao's 10 fingers dug into the ground, and a vast and brutal power surged out. With his palms facing upwards, he suddenly raised them. A huge shadow suddenly appeared in front of Looming Fei and Bai Xiaohui. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. His eyeballs almost popped out of their sockets. Bai Juanhao had actually raised a floor that was more than 100 feet wide, following which he smashed the stone with his fist, and a violent pure power pushed the stone towards the two of them. Damned be asterisk TCH, why aren't you activating your defensive skills? Seeing such a scene, Bai Xiaohui cursed loudly. Green tortoise black light shield. Heavenly water blue screen. 2 layers of battle chi barriers, one soft and one hard, tightly protected the two of them. The huge stone on the floor was like a hurricane as it collided head-on, shattering the two's battle chi barriers. The ferocious and domineering impact was transmitted to the two of them, causing them to spit out blood and retreat. The huge stone also turned into gravel and scattered all over the place like hailstones, constantly smashing down. Everyone hurriedly activated their battle chi to defend themselves. Only Lin Shun was sitting there calmly as he clicked his tongue in admiration. The quality of oil paper umbrellas these days is really good. I'll buy a few more next time. Rip. The sound of wind cutting through the air could be heard. Using pure strength, Bai Juanhao's speed was not inferior to that of a top-tier movement technique. In the blink of an eye, he was in front of Bai Xiaohui. Bai Xiaohui was shocked. His battle chi surged and gathered into a red palm print. He hurriedly slapped his palm. Black Eagle Force. Bai Juanhao's palm was like an eagle's, with green scales appearing. His fingers stretched out like hooks, attacking and defending at the same time. Like lightning, it tore apart his battle chi handprint. He quickly clamped down on Bai Xiaohui's wrist. Die. Holding Bai Xiaohui's wrist with his palm, he instantly exerted force and twisted, directly crushing the bones in his arm. At the same time, Bai Juanhao swung his barb like a whip, smashing Bai Xiaohui's entire body to the ground like a whip. Boom! The floor shattered, and Bai Xiaohui crashed heavily onto the ground. His bones were broken, his eyes bulged, and he spat out blood. No, Xiaohui! Lu Mingfei screamed miserably. You be asterisk TCH who stabbed me in the back, scram. Bai Juanhao's murderous aura. He turned around indifferently and slapped Lu Mingfei. His 5 fingers swept through the air and tore apart layers of air. Pa! The force of the slap landed on Lu Mingfei's delicate face without any intention of showing mercy. Blood dripped from her red lips, and a few silver teeth fell out. Lu Mingfei immediately fainted. Mengfei, the Lu clansmen roared as though they were grieving their parents, and suddenly stood up. Bai Juanhao didn't care. His battle-intent soared as he lifted his leg and stomped on Bai Xiaohui's back. The strength of this stomp was enough to turn Bai Xiaohui into minced meat at close range. At this moment, the entire scene was filled with murderous aura. An afterimage was extremely fast. Before the sound could be heard, the person had already moved. He attacked Bai Juanhao with extreme speed. Little bastard, you still want to take my son's life? Die. It was the Bai clan's clan head, Bai Xiong. When he realized that his son's life was in danger, he no longer cared about his reputation. Bai Xiong grabbed at Bai Juanhao in midair. The earth fiend aura of the ghost god extermination surged in the air and caused the air to collapse. No one expected that Bai Xiong, a 5th-level Earth Realm expert, would actually make a move on the spot. He didn't care about seniority and wanted to kill a junior. They could only watch as Bai Xiong pounced at Bai Juanhao. A prodigy of a generation had just appeared. Was he going to fall at the speed of a shooting star? Just as this thought flashed across everyone's mind, a violent wind blew. The silver robes fluttered, the purple flames burned, and the wings spread out. The silver-robed youth had the purple flames burning wings and blocked in front of Bai Xiong. His sleeves were torn apart, and his arm was covered with sinister and fiendish azure dragon scales. It was Lin Shun. What? Bai Xiong turned pale with fright. Lin Shun was actually able to keep up with his movement skill speed. I already knew that trash like you wouldn't just sit and wait for death. Lin Shun sneered and lifted his azure dragon left arm to shake. Every dragon scale was revolving with invincible power that could move mountains and rivers, clashing head-on with Bai Xiong. Chapter 49. Bang! The airflow collapsed, and the clouds changed. A huge mushroom cloud rose into the sky above the Bai family, and the impact of the collision destroyed all the banquet tables. The two people in the middle of the mushroom cloud landed, and Bai Xiong looked serious. He had felt the same aura from Lin Shun as Bai Juanhao, and it was much stronger than Bai Juanhao by one. For times, could it be that this kid passed this power to that little bastard? Not good. Xiao Hui's condition. Bai Xiong didn't have time to pay attention to Lin Shun, and his expression changed drastically. My leg, my leg. Bai Xiao Hui's blood-curdling screams resounded through the entire arena. The shockwave from the collision between Lin Shun and Bai Xiong had pushed him away, allowing Bai Juanhao to step on his knee. Even his bones and flesh had been crushed. Bai Xiaohui, who was in so much pain that he was no longer as arrogant and unruly as before, only wailing in agony. Bai Xiong hurried over to check on his injuries, and his expression changed drastically. Bai Xiaohui's arm was broken, and his right leg was crippled. Even if it was cured, he would still be a half-crippled person. Furthermore, this battle would leave a permanent scar on his heart, and his martial arts would be crippled in the future. Seeing Bai Xiaohui's condition, everyone sighed. Just a few breaths ago, almost no one would have expected this outcome. Bai Juanhao was the real prodigy. He really defeated Lu Mengfei and Bai Xiaohui with just his qi refinement realm cultivation. The difference between the two of them was like the difference between a firefly and the moon in front of him. There was no comparison at all. Bai Juanhao was only 16 years old, and his future was full of unlimited possibilities. However, when everyone regained their senses, they looked at Lin Shun with even more trepidation. Did I see wrongly just now? That Bai Juanhao's elder brother could actually exchange a blow with the Bai family head? He hit it so well. Even I didn't realize when he moved. When he attacked just now, he seemed to have a pair of wings. I saw it too. It seemed to be purple. He was about the same age as Bai Juanhao and had an extremely mysterious background. However, he had personally drawn out Bai Juanhao's potential and created such a peerless genius. Even many of the Bai clan's older generation and Disha realm experts had personally appraised that Bai Juanhao's cultivation aptitude was that of immortals. When placed in the Bai clan, which was a huge clan, he was a complete piece of trash. However, it didn't escape Lin Chen's eyes. Previously, when he clashed with Bai Xiong, who was at the 5th level of the Earth realm, he was unscathed. What kind of concept was that? If Bai Juanhao was said to be a heaven's pride, then Lin Shun was a true demon-like existence. You two little bastards, how dare you cripple Xiaohui? Today, I'll let you die in the Bai family. Bai Xiong was enraged and glared at Lin Shun and Bai Juanhao with bloodshot eyes, about to go berserk. No, Bai Xiong, you can't touch Juanhao now. Two Bai clan's elders immediately stood in front of Bai Juanhao and spoke indifferently. Juanhao has already used his own strength to prove himself. He is more outstanding than Bai Xiaohui. Furthermore, fists and legs have no eyes in battle. This matter is purely Xiaohui's loss. That's all. You are dismissed. These two elders were elders of the Bai clan and had extremely high seniority. They were even stronger than Bai Xiong. Right now, Bai Juanhao was a new star that was even more resplendent than Bai Xiaohui in their eyes. He might lead their Bai clan to unprecedented heights. They couldn't wait to protect him like a treasure. Bullsh asterisk T. This kid just has some brute strength. On the path of the martial Tao, cultivating battle qi is the correct path. Body refinement is just an unorthodox path. That kid might have imparted some of his strength that overdrew his life force. This little bastard, how can he be called a genius? Bai Xiong gritted his teeth and spoke with unwillingness. This statement obviously shook the two elders. They had previously sensed a similar aura presence from Lin Shun and Bai Juanhao. Clan head Bai's hair isn't long, and your knowledge is rather short. Let me ask you, look at Juanhao's vitality. Which part of him looks like he has overdrawn his life force? Lin Shun was indifferent and dispelled their doubts with one sentence. Everyone observed that Bai Juanhao's body was full of vitality. He didn't look like someone who had used a mystic technique that overdrew his life force. Juanhao is a precious gem in your Bai clan because he is a true Azure Dragon bloodline possessor. Lin Chen's words caused a huge commotion. All the slightly experienced cultivators present stared at Bai Juanhao in shock. He was actually a possessor of a special bloodline. Since ancient times, some of the descendants of a human race and the beast race were born from mating, or some of them obtained the inheritance of the ancient beast through some special fortuitous encounters. They obtained a special bloodline, and from then on, their cultivation talents soared to the heavens, making them invincible. The Bai clan was a family of humans and had never interacted with high-ranking beasts. It was obvious that Bai Juanhao belonged to the latter, and this special bloodline was the most precious dragon bloodline. Azure Dragon bloodline. Juanhao actually has the Azure Dragon bloodline. An elder's hand trembled as he grabbed Bai Juanhao's arm. They weren't fools. When Bai Juanhao attacked just now, the aura he exuded was exactly the same as that of a noble dragon. Thud! This elder knelt down in front of Bai Juanhao. Juanhao, I apologize to you on behalf of everyone in the Bai clan who has offended you. If you have any requests, the Bai clan will try our best to satisfy you from now on. I hope that you can let bygones be bygones. This elder actually apologized to Bai Juanhao in front of everyone. His attitude was incomparably sincere. Everyone in the Bai clan knew that a bright new star was rising, and he would reach an unprecedented height in the history of the Bai clan. All the powers present had mixed feelings. From today onwards, the history of Lori City would be rewritten. Elder you, please get up. These matters don't matter to me anymore. Bai Juanhao calmly helped the elder up. The latter laughed bitterly in his heart. It seemed that it wouldn't be so easy to get rid of the grudge in his heart. He's actually a possessor of the Azure Dragon bloodline. This little bastard actually had such a fortuitous encounter. Damn it, my shall we? Waves of shock surged in Bai Xiong's heart. No matter how unwilling he was very clear that it was impossible for him to kill Bai Juanhao today, a possessor of a special bloodline and a dragon bloodline at that. For him to display such terrifying potential at such a young age, the lowest limit of his future growth would be the Heaven Star border realm. Everyone knew what a Heaven Star border realm meant in the Waste region. After taking Bai Xiaowei away, Bai Xiong gritted his teeth and left. The Liu clan felt even more conflicted. Damn it, a possessor of the Azure Dragon bloodline. Their Liu clan actually missed out on a possessor of the Azure Dragon bloodline. They even offended him. Their future prospects were simply unimaginable. The Bai clan had their own thoughts. However, after Lin Chun bent down to pick up the attribute light ball on the ground, he suddenly turned around with an extremely serious expression. Juanhao, Big Brother is very angry. Lin Chen's simple sentence caused everyone to hold their breaths. God, why was this master still angry? Chapter 50. Even the Bai clan's 3 elders were trembling in fear, perspiring profusely. A person who had unearthed the Azure Dragon's bloodline and was able to go head-on against an absolute monster at the Disha realm. They were unable to imagine the power and background behind Lin Chun. If you were to get angry, Big Brother, is there anything I didn't do well enough? Bai Juanhao followed Lin Chen's lead and lowered his head as he asked in a submissive tone. Asterisk King set the rules for you to deal with this adulterous couple in 2 moves, but you actually used 7 moves? You're such a disappointment. You've lost all my face. How'd I teach you how to be a muggle? Are you trying to anger your big brother to death? Lin Chen scolded loudly, and everyone was so shocked by his words that they almost vomited blood. Bai Juanhao's performance in the battle was decisive and had completely exceeded the battle mentality that he should have at his age. In the eyes of the older generation experts, this was already very perfect. But this guy actually scolded this proud son of heaven as a muggle? How was he going to let others live? Yes, Juanhao has let down Big Brother Lin Chen's expectations. I will work harder in the future and do better. Bai Juanhao's attitude also made many people's mouths twitch. Nighttime, Bai clan's back mountain. The Bai clan ordered the mountain to be sealed, and only Lin Shun and Bai Juanhao were allowed to stay in the back mountain. Attack Big Brother with all my might? Big Brother, what's the meaning of this? Bai Juanhao and Lin Chen stood opposite each other. When Bai Juanhao heard Lin Chen's request, he asked doubtfully, "Don't worry, with your strength, you can't hurt me. Moreover, I'm already prepared to leave this place." Lin Chen waved his hand casually. In fact, the Azure Dragon Bloodline attribute light balls that Bai Juanhao had dropped had already given him very little boost. During this period of time, the Azure Dragon Bloodline attribute that Lin Chen had obtained from Bai Juanhao had already exceeded 500 points. Any further, and it would be a huge bottleneck, and the boost would be minimal. As Lin Chen didn't receive much of a boost, the number of Bloodline attribute orbs that Bai Juanhao dropped also decreased. If Bai Juanhao's Bloodline power increased by another 2 levels, he might be able to help Lin Chen improve even more. However, this was not something that could be achieved in a short period of time. Perhaps it would take several years, or even 10 years. Lin Chen did not have that much time by Juanhao's side. Therefore, it was time for Lin Chen to leave the Bai family. "Big Brother, are you leaving?" Bai Juanhao was shocked, and his eyes were filled with reluctance. "Yes, I have something to do. Meeting you was an accident, and I don't have much time left." Lin Chen smiled casually and then said seriously, "Juanhao, there's still a trace of innocence in your eyes. You're not ruthless enough. Have you never thought about why I approached you? If I wanted to kill you, what would you do?" Bai Juanhao was taken aback, but his eyes were filled with determination. "Big Brother Lin Chen, you're my benefactor. If not for you, I might have died without anyone to collect my corpse. I wouldn't have had strength and dignity. If Big Brother wants my life, I can return it to you anytime." Bai Juanhao's reply made Lin Chen shake his head and sigh. "This is your naivety. The Azure Dragon Bloodline is yours. It's only a matter of time before it awakens. I didn't give it to you. I hope to hear an answer that you can resist me. You have to walk the rest of the path by yourself. Whether you can transform or not depends on you. Remember my words. You must be ruthless enough. Other than yourself, don't trust anyone. Attack me with all your strength. Let me see your limit." Under Lin Chen's tone, Bai Juanhao took a deep breath. "Then please enlighten me, Big Brother." Boom! Bai Juanhao's Azure Dragon aura caused the birds and beasts in the back mountain to roar and prostrate under the dragon's might. Gathering his strength, Bai Juanhao's fist was like a dragon. Pure strength pierced through the air, destroying everything in its path, forming countless tornadoes. Wherever it passed, countless towering trees were uprooted. Lin Chen's expression became serious. He took a step forward, and with a push of his palms, he blocked Bai Juanhao's full-strength punch head-on. He took 3 steps back, and each step left a mark that was a foot deep. Your maximum strength is around 31,000 tiger power. When the Azure Dragon Bloodline is activated, your defense will also increase. As long as you don't encounter the 9th level of the War Soul stage, you will be invincible. However, you still need to hone more body-refining battle skills to speed up the growth of your bloodline. Bai Juanhao remembered Lin Chen's evaluation in his heart. By the time he reacted, Lin Chen had already walked down the mountain on the other side. "Big Brother, don't chase after me. If fate wills it, we will meet again." Lin Chen berated him. Bai Juanhao stood in place in a daze, then suddenly knelt down in the direction Lin Chen left. Tears flickered in his eyes as he kowtowed heavily. "Thank you, Big Brother Lin Chen, for your kindness of rebirth. Juanhao will never forget it." After leaving the Bai family's back mountain, Lin Chen put on his cloak, bought a good horse, and left Sunset City in the middle of the night. 5 days later, at noon, the sun was high in the sky. Lin Chen rode on the fierce flood dragon horse that he had bought with a lot of money, galloping on a road that was as wide as a plain. Rumble! The earth shook, and all kinds of strange, vicious beast mounts appeared on the plain road. There was a stalwart earth demon rhinoceros, a 5-color deer that was decorated with jewels, a 2-headed stealthy green spirit python, a cold ice lizard, 100 feathered spirit crane, and a domineering and majestic heavenly brute elephant. The masters of these mounts all came from powerful forces, causing Lin Chun to be dazzled. All of these forces had at least one young genius among them. Some stood with swords in their hands, aloof and arrogant. Some held a saber in their hands, revealing their domineering aura. Some played the zither and painted, leisurely and elegant. Some were so beautiful that even birds and geese alight, extraordinary. Some were talking cheerfully and wittily, holding pearls of wisdom in their hands. Between their brows, they were full of confidence. These were the top geniuses who had been selected from more than 10 billion people in the wasteland. They were young, and the lowest cultivation level was at the 9th level of the spirit detecting realm. Some had already reached the soul battling realm. All of them were dragons and phoenixes among men, standing proudly above millions and tens of millions of people. They were all going to the Heavenly Song Academy to register. Just this show of extravagance made Lin Chun exclaim in admiration, "Damn, this is what I call a card." Lin Chun looked at his fierce flood dragon horse and couldn't help but sweat. The mounts of many forces brought their geniuses to an ancient city at the end of the plain road. That was the Heavenly Song Academy's profound sky city. These were the top geniuses. Some of the slightly inferior ones were at the 7th or 8th level of the spirit detecting realm. They were at least at the same level as the Bai families by Xiaowei. It's really a gathering of the winds and clouds. Lin Chun sighed. Just as he was about to speed up and enter the ancient city, he found that not far ahead, not far away, there were scattered attribute balls of light scattered all over the ground. They were colorful and flashing with brilliance. Holy shit! Lin Chun looked around. On the entire plain road, wherever the fierce beast mounts of the powerful forces passed, they left behind a dazzling array of attribute balls of light. "I've struck it rich, ha ha ha." Lin Chun urged his horse forward, collecting all kinds of attribute balls of light on the plain road. Chapter 51. There were less than 2 days left until the entrance exam of Heavenly Song Academy. For the past 2 days, Lin Chun had been waiting for the arrival of the various forces on the plain street. Every time a group of forces passed by, they would leave behind a bunch of attribute light balls. Just by relying on this wave of attribute light balls, Lin Chun's body refinement level and battle chi cultivation had risen to another level. Early in the morning, Lin Chun sat cross-legged at a corner of the plain street and opened the system. Host, Lin Chun cultivation. Level 3 Spirit Detecting Realm Maximum Strength. 49,800 Tiger Power Chi and Blood. 2. 341,000 Battle Chi Essences. 614,000 Spiritual Power. 18,011 Cultivation Method Essence. 62 for 28 Mental Cultivation Method. Primal Chaos 5 Spirit Technique. 20%. Cultivation Method. Heavenly Spirit Pill Transformation Technique. 8 Desolation Mystic Flame. True Water Origin Technique. 24%. For King's War Demon Seal. Genesis Holy Scripture. 4%. Possessed Items. 7-star Soul Seizing. Spear. Purple True Flame Phoenix Wings. 7%. Possessed Bloodline Energy. Azure Dragon Bloodline. 761 points. Purple Golden Pupil Bloodline. 10,000 points. Characteristic Runes. Slow Rune Level 1. Corrosion Rune Level 1. 6,500 points of Rune Energy. Various Elemental Energy. Fire 142,281 points. Earth 128,871 points. Wood 131,125 points. Metal 135,331 points. Water 124,148 points. The attribute light balls that Lin Chun had picked up in the past 2 days had caused his chi and blood to surge. His pure strength had also increased by 10,000 tiger power. It's harder for my pure strength to increase. Lin Chun discovered a problem. Previously, he could pick up around 50 points of chi and blood to increase his strength by 1 tiger power, but now he needed 90 or 100 points or more. The body refining realm was the same as the battle chi realm. The higher the level, the harder it was to increase. Most of the forces of the wasteland have already entered Xintian City. It's time for me to go in. Lin Shun mounted his horse and entered the city. Xintian City was a huge city under the jurisdiction of Heavenly Song Academy. The city was vast, comparable to a small mountain range. At the entrance of Xintian City Square was Heavenly Song Academy's entrance exam registration site. After Lin Shun handed over his invitation letter and confirmed his identity, he entered the Mystic Sky Square. Many arenas were set up in the plaza, as well as large cages. Ferocious beasts were imprisoned in the cages. Many examinees were here to pick the exam questions. Due to the randomness and variety of the exam questions, passing the exam was also partly based on luck. Lin Shun squeezed into one of the 5 channels and began to line up. The tutor announced the content of each candidate's test in a special passage. Xia Fiyu, draw the test content. Defeat the level 3 Black Jade Leopard. Exam venue, number 176. Li Ji, the content of the test is participate in the 10-person Battle Royale test. The number of people who passed is 5. Exam venue, number 100. Yu Guanxing, draw the test content. Obtain the feathers of 2 rank 3 silver-feathered wolves. Exam venue, room 51. Along the way, the contents of the test were all of extremely high quality. When Lin Shun lined up, he immediately attracted everyone's attention. Almost 99% of the people participating in the exam were at least at the 6th layer of the spirit detection realm. How come this brat was only at the 3rd layer? I say, this fellow couldn't have bought an invitation from somewhere, right? 3rd layer of the spirit detection realm. He probably can't even compare to one of my guards, haha. It seems like there are always cats and dogs that want to fish in troubled waters. This king is actually in the same exam venue as this kind of trash. This is truly an insult. If it wasn't for the fact that the tutors were here, I would have crushed him in one move. Many of the young geniuses looked at Lin Shun with disdain. Lin Shun's eyelids trembled. How come there were always idiots who felt so good about themselves everywhere? Just as he was about to teach them a lesson, the tutor called out Lin Shun's name. Candidate Lin Shun, please come up and draw the test content. When it was Lin Shun's turn, he casually put his hand into the box and pulled out a jade scroll. The bald tutor immediately took it and opened it. His expression changed slightly. The bald tutor glanced at Lin Shun with a trace of disdain in his eyes and announced, Candidate Lin Shun, draw the test content. Persevere for 10 rounds under the hands of tutor Li Ruoyan without losing. Tutors are not allowed to use any combat skills. Exam venue, 233. As soon as the bald tutor said this, many people's expressions changed slightly as they sucked in a breath of cold air. Against the tutor? This was practically the most difficult exam question. Any tutor in the Heavenly Song Academy was in existence above the Earth realm. Even if they did not use any combat skills, it would be difficult for them to last 10 rounds under the opponent's hands, even if they were at the 9th level of the Battle Soul realm. Among the hundreds of thousands of examinees present, those who could reach the 9th level of the Battle Soul realm could be counted on one hand. I only need to last 10 rounds? Isn't that too simple? Lin Shun chuckled, casually took the jade scroll, and left under the astonished gazes of the crowd. There are quite a few people who know how to brag these days. Let's go take a look at this young master, huh? The spirit detecting realm said, it was easy for the Earth realm. I want to see what kind of trash this brat is. Exam venue 233. I'll remember it. Amidst the crowd, Lin Shun followed the mark on the jade scroll and found exam venue 233. The beauty on the stage had long and fair legs and a whip around her waist. She looked like she was in her 30s, and her blue dress accentuated her graceful and exquisite figure. There was always a quiet and elegant smile on her face that could captivate the birds and beasts. Because of this female tutor's temperament and appearance, it attracted many examinees to stop and sigh in admiration. This is exam venue 233. Lin Shan walked all the way and stepped onto the stage. When the surrounding examinees saw this, they couldn't help but be stunned. Where did this weirdo come from? The third level of the spirit detecting realm. Oh, you're the examinee who drew my exam question this time? The beautiful woman standing on the stage sized up Lin Shan with interest. You're tutor Li Ruolian, right? I'm examinee Lin. Before Lin Shan could finish his words, his eyes lit up. Beside the beautiful woman, there were several blue attribute light balls scattered on the ground. They were attribute light balls of water, elemental energy. This was the first time Lin Shan had seen such a high-quality attribute light ball. The attribute light balls of water, elemental energy were an important source of energy for Lin Shan to cultivate the true water origin technique. To Lin Shan, it was the attribute that he lacked the most. Seeing the attribute light balls, Lin Shan subconsciously walked over and bent down in front of Li Ruolian to pick them up. You. Li Ruolian was embarrassed and angry. She covered her dress and retreated several steps, glaring angrily at Lin Shan. What? Seeing this scene, the examinees outside the stage were in an uproar. Scum. Despicable. He actually wants to look under the tutor's skirt the moment he sees her. So perverted. Can this kind of person participate in the Heavenly Song Academy's exam? Heavens! It's broad daylight, bright and clear. How can there be such a person? I even turned off the lights. The scene of Lin Shan picking up the attribute light balls was coincidentally judged by everyone as wanting to look under the tutor's skirt. Host received 18,000 water elemental energy points. Looking at the system's screen of light, Lin Shan instantly received close to 20,000 points of water-type energy attribute. Lin Shan smiled like a blooming rose. He actually smiled, and he's smiling so happily? This is too much. This kind of person should be disqualified from the exam. Why is he wearing clothes from Pinru? He's so flirtatious. Chapter 52. When they saw Lin Shan's grin, the surrounding examinees were enraged and condemned Lin Shan one after another. Those who had previously mocked Lin Shan's low cultivation and those who had come to watch the show also joined the condemning army one after another when they saw Lin Shan's reaction. When Lin Shan came back to his senses, he heard the surrounding condemnation and couldn't help but be dumbfounded. F***CK. When did I become a big pervert? This examinee, I don't know if your behavior just now was to interfere with my upcoming assessment, but you have successfully angered me. Li Ruolian's cheeks were still faintly red, but her eyes were filled with anger and coldness. Instructor, it's a misunderstanding. Lin Shan shouted that it was a misunderstanding. Li Ruolian's pretty face was red, and she lightly bit her white teeth. You were smiling so happily just now. It didn't seem like a misunderstanding. Examinee, show me your invitation letter. If there are no problems, we will immediately begin the assessment. I don't want to look at you for even a second longer. Li Ruolian said coldly. Lin Shan's heart was filled with bitterness. He had gotten used to picking up attribute light balls in the past 2 days and reacted subconsciously. He actually made such a big mistake. Just as Lin Shan handed over the invitation letter to confirm Li Ruolian's identity, more and more people were attracted by the noise. 4 white-clothed youths with swords on their backs were the examinees who had previously ridiculed Lin Shan. Just as they were condemning Lin Shan, they saw several familiar and admiring figures in the crowd. It's the Shangwan clan, the chief appraiser family. Even the legendary Miss Shangwan Bihan is here. This is a great opportunity. Cousin, haven't you always been interested in Miss Shangwan Bihan? I didn't expect Miss Shangwan Bihan to also participate in the Heavenly Song Academy's registration exam. The handsome youth in the lead became spirited. He walked out of the crowd and greeted the several people from the Shangwan clan with a polite smile. Greetings to everyone from the Shangwan clan. I am Ling Feng from the Ling clan of the Lower Desolate Regions, Nanyue City. All right, Prince Ling Feng is too polite. However, Shangwan Bihan only nodded at him out of courtesy. Shangwan Yinfan and the other family elders didn't even look at him. What is this? Seeing that the other party didn't even spare him a glance, young Master Ling Feng, seemed to have suffered a great blow and humiliation. His face flushed red, and he froze on the spot. Isn't that the #1 appraiser family in the wasteland, the Shangwan clan? Oh my god, why did they come to this examination hall? It's Miss Bihan from the Shangwan family. I never thought that I would be able to see my goddess one day. Many examinees looked at the people from the Shangwan clan with admiration. Even the female examinees couldn't help but feel admiration for Shangwan Bihan. The Shangwan clan's influence in the entire wasteland was still very heavy, and they were above most of the other powers. Shangwan Bihan walked to the edge of the arena. She, who had always been quiet and elegant, seemed to have mustered up her courage this time. Her pretty face was flushed red as she waved her slender, jade-like hands, cheering for the youth in the arena. Prince Lin Shun, do your best. When the male examinees outside the arena saw this scene, they instantly felt as if they had been struck by lightning. The goddess they had admired for a long time. She was actually cheering for this pervert who wanted to molest the instructor as soon as they met. What kind of deity is this spirit-detecting realm pervert? There were already many hot-blooded youths who were beginning to go crazy. Just when everyone was in disbelief and had a dazed expression on their faces, more than a dozen people squeezed out of the crowd. When a youth in the lead saw Lin Shun in the arena, he was wild with joy. It's really Big Brother Lin Shun. Big Brother Lin Shun, do your best. Everyone looked sideways. When they saw the newcomer, some of the young talents who were keeping up with the times couldn't help but gasp. It's by Jiwenhao from the Setting Sun City. He's the Azure Dragon bloodline possessor who recently appeared out of nowhere. Even a legendary Azure Dragon bloodline possessor has such a close relationship with him. Who is this pervert? Look, even the Black Horse Club's Single Plane King is here. Oh my god, how big is his face to be able to invite the Single Plane King? Everyone was about to go crazy. What kind of background did this guy have? When Lin Shun heard the cheers outside the arena, he waved at Bai Juanhao and Shangwan Bihan with a smile. Little guy, if you can withstand 10 of my moves, then you pass. The first round of the exam will now officially begin. Li Ruoyan coldly glanced at Lin Shun and pulled the long whip at her waist. The long whip was sparkling and translucent, as blue as a crystal. This brat is finished. Instructor Ruoyan is going to be serious. The exam's rules forbade the use of battle techniques, but it didn't forbid the use of weapons. Lin Shun rubbed his nose and shook his head with a smile. Since he had been treated as a pervert, he could only beat them at their own game and continue being a pervert to the end. In front of thousands of spectating examinees, he spoke with a shocking smile. Instructor Ruoyan, your legs are really beautiful. Li Ruoyan was startled. Before she could react, the sound of wind breaking suddenly rang out. Lin Shun's figure was like a polar star that broke through the clouds. His steps were like fire and lightning as he went straight for Li Ruoyan. With a palm strike, Lin Shun's pure strength exploded. He actually went for Li Ruoyan's ample bosom. Seeing that Lin Shun's move was obviously meant to take advantage of her, the examinees outside the arena who saw Lin Shun's actions all looked at him with cold disdain. He actually used such a despicable move to deal with Instructor Ruoyan. Too cruel. Let me do it. The examinees all condemned Lin Shun, causing some of the female examinees to roll their eyes. Shameless. Seeing Lin Shun's actions, Li Ruoyan angrily scolded. Once again, she confirmed that his character was extremely vile. She turned her slender, jade-like hand and slammed it with dark blue battle chi, clashing head-on with Lin Shun. Bang! There was an explosion of chi waves. The battle chi of a second-level Earth Realm martial artist pushed Lin Shun back by more than 10 steps. His pure strength was close to 50,000 tiger strength. In a head-on confrontation, he could at most go against a first-level Earth Realm martial artist. But Li Ruoyan's talent was outstanding. As a Heavenly Song Academy's instructor, her foundation and aptitude were incomparable to the Earth Realm martial artist that Lin Shun had previously fought with. Just the intensity of her battle chi was enough to push Lin Shun back. Li Ruoyan's palm strike was accompanied by her whip, which suddenly swept out. The azure battle chi drew a beautiful arc in the air. Rip, the long whip tore apart Lin Chen's figure. It was actually an afterimage. The examinees outside the arena were shocked. This abnormal movement skill speed was actually so fast. The airflow changed rapidly. Li Ruoyan caught onto the abnormality as a youth's figure mysteriously appeared behind her. The long whip was about to turn back, but Lin Shen blocked Li Ruoyan's snow-white wrist with a single hand. The whip didn't reach out. After blocking the blue whip, Lin Shen faced her voluptuous peaks with a slap. Li Ruoyan was shocked and angry. Not only was this child mischievous, but he was also trying to take advantage of her. How could she let him have his way in front of everyone? Thousand aqua blue curtain. The translucent blue whip spun in the air, and 4 water curtains of battle chi circled around Li Ruoyan, exploding with a force that could engulf a reef. It crashed on Lin Chen's chest, sending him flying more than 10 meters away. The moment Lin Shen was sent flying, Li Ruoyan cursed in her heart. Chapter 53. Examinee mentor Li Ruoyan violated the rules by using a combat skill. Examinee Lin Chen wins. The referee elder outside the examination hall announced loudly, causing an uproar. A third-level spirit detection realm examinee actually forced Li Ruoyan, who was at the second level of the Earth realm, to use a combat skill. Many thanks to Mentor Ruoyan for letting me win. Lin Shen smiled and cupped his fist. Why did you use such a despicable attack? Li Ruoyan frowned and snorted. Despicable? If I didn't use any methods, how could I, a third-level spirit detection realm martial artist, last 10 rounds against the mentor? As the saying goes, all is fair in war. Furthermore, what I said earlier was the truth. The mentor's legs are very beautiful. Lin Shen chuckled, causing some of the hot-blooded youths to secretly admire him. One after another, he even dared to take liberties with the mentor. His guts were simply unparalleled. Li Ruoyan was embarrassed and angry. Just as she was about to argue, a white-haired elder appeared outside the examination hall like a ghost. He stroked his beard and laughed. Little Ruoyan, this kid's perception is not bad. He used psychological tactics to make you waver before using his movement skill to sneak attack you. He used his body refinement advantage to engage in close combat with you, causing you to be unable to use your whip art immediately. He forced you to use a defensive combat skill. Your loss is not unjust. The white-haired elder leisurely walked out of the stage. Li Ruoyan bowed and spoke respectfully. Vice Principal, since you have spoken, then Ruoyan need not say anything more. Vice Principal, hearing this title, all the youths present looked at the white-haired elder with reverence. This was the pinnacle expert of the desolate region. Countless people spent their entire lives without even having the chance to meet him. Kid, you seem to be able to handle it with ease. This old man is looking forward to your performance in the second round. The vice principal smiled meaningfully at Lin Shen. Senior, I really don't have anything else. Other than being handsome and a little brute strength, I have nothing else. Lin Shen shrugged his shoulders. The vice principal shook his head and laughed. He turned to look at the 2 factions outside the stage. There are a lot of familiar faces today. The vice principal stroked his beard and smiled at the Shangwan clan and the Bai clan. Both clans greeted him as a junior. And all of you young fellows, do your best. Talented and hard-working youngsters, the doors of my Heavenly Song Academy will always be open for you. This old man looks forward to seeing you in the second round of the exam. The vice principal came and went without a trace. When he left, he only left behind a casual laugh. Candidate Lin Shen, you have advanced to the second round of the examination. Take your invitation letter. The referee elder returned the invitation letter to Lin Shen. Li Ruoyan glared at him and left. Lin Shen, congratulations. Shangwan Yinfan, along with 2 family elders and Shangwan Bihan, came forward to congratulate him. Bihan is also taking the entrance exam this year. I hope Mr. Lin can take care of her. A kind-looking yellow-robed elder nodded and said with a smile. Beside him, Shangwan Bihan pouted and said, Second elder, Bihan wants to rely on her own ability to pass, How can I trouble young Master Lin Shun? The elders that Shangwan Yunfan brought this time were relatively open-minded. They could understand Lin Chen's original position. Therefore, not only did they not blame him, but they also felt grateful. Miss Bihan is already at the 8th level of the spirit detecting realm. It's not certain who will help who. Lin Chen said, half-jokingly. So the Shangwan clan also knows Big Brother Lin Shun. Bai Juanhao also ran over with a group of elders and congratulated Lin Shun with joy. Oh, little brother, are you the new Azure Dragon bloodline possessor from the Bai clan? Shangwan Yunfan saw through Bai Juanhao with his purple-gold eyes and asked with a serious and friendly smile. I don't dare. Junior Juanhao greets the seniors and sister Shangwan Bihan. Bai Juanhao understood Lin Chen's teachings and cupped his fists in a neither servile nor overbearing manner. I didn't expect Sir Lin Shun to also participate in the Heavenly Song Academy's exam. It's really fate. While the elders of the Bai clan congratulated Lin Shun, they also wanted to be friendly with the Shangwan clan. Both clans saw each other's potential and weight, so the atmosphere was always warm. Seeing the ancient families of Sunset City and the chief appraiser clan of the Wasteland being so polite to Lin Shun, they were even respectful. The examinees who mocked Lin Shun before left silently with their tails between their legs. Shangwan Bihan and Bai Juanhao's exam was much easier than Lin Chen's. Lin Chen passed the exam and was waiting for the second round. However, Lin Chen couldn't bear the loneliness. He walked around the exam hall and picked up all the attribute light balls scattered in the hall. He collected a large number of attribute light balls of the 5 elements, and his pure strength broke through to 53,000 tiger power. In the afternoon, all the examinees finished their exams. 155,000 young talents from all over the wasteland were left with less than 80,000 people after only 1 day of screening. Half of the examinees were eliminated. Everyone. Next is the second round of the Academy's exam, which will also be the final exam. The vice principal appeared 1,000 feet above the mysterious sky plaza and smiled while stroking his beard. Yes, there are still many good youths this year, slightly better than the previous years. Everyone, listen up. The second round of exam is, after 1 hour, you will enter the Heavenly Dragon Mountain Range from the mysterious sky plaza. In a mountain range, you need to collect the Heavenly Song Academy's unique dragon tendon grass within 7 days. Those who have more than 5 dragon tendon grass and reach the Valley of the End last will exchange the extra dragon tendon grass for school credits. You will be considered to have passed the second round of exam and officially become an outer court disciple. On the way forward, examinees are allowed to attack each other and steal each other's dragon tendon grass, but they are not allowed to maliciously harm others' lives. There will be 100 mentors and elders following the exam. If you are found to have intentionally harmed others' lives, you will be disqualified. There may also be powerful, ferocious beasts in the mountain range. If you encounter any danger that you can't deal with, you can give up the exam in advance and be escorted away by the elders or mentors. In order to avoid conflicts with too many people before the exam, the Mysterious Sky Plaza has a total of 8 passages, which are divided into 4 exam areas in the east, west, north, and south. The number of examinees in each exam area will be evenly distributed. Everyone, please confirm the exam area you are in on your invitation letter. After the vice principal finished his announcement, he left with the wind, drifting clouds and wild cranes. He had the demeanor of an immortal. Hearing that the content of this exam was completely different from the previous ones, everyone in the plaza started to discuss spiritedly. Some of the young geniuses had already begun to form alliances with each other, agreeing to help each other in the exam. Prince Lin Shun, Bihan is in the west area of the exam area. Do you want to go with us? Shangwan Bihan asked Lin Shun. He looked at his invitation letter and waved it casually. I'm in the east area. It seems that fate hasn't come yet. Lin Shen's words caused Shangwan Bihan's face to redden as she hurriedly explained. I'm in the south area. It seems that I can't go with Brother Lin Shun. Beside her, Bai Juanhao shook his head helplessly. The people of the Bai family felt that it was a pity because they had witnessed Lin Chen's terrifying strength with their own eyes. Boom! At the end of the mysterious Sky Plaza, 8 huge doors that were 1,000 feet tall opened at the same time, filled with a primordial aura that swept out. All examinees, please set off within an hour. If you don't set off after the time limit, you will be considered to have given up. The vice principal's voice echoed outside the plaza again. As soon as he finished speaking, a sword light flashed past the huge doors. A top genius had already set off. Chapter 54. Many young talents did not want to be outdone and immediately followed. A large number of examinees began to pour into the 8 giant doors. Let's meet again in the Valley of the End. Lin Shan waved to Shangwan Bihan and Bai Juanhao and jumped into the Sky Dragon Mountain Range's eastern entrance. Tens of thousands of people set off at the same time. Many young talents used their own movement techniques. The scene was majestic. Lin Shan activated his purple golden eyes. The spiritual energy of heaven and earth changed, allowing him to instantly find the location of the heavenly treasures in a vast mountain range. After leaving the main crowd, Lin Shan activated his movement technique and flashed continuously. After the examinees who passed the first round of examination left, many servants and family members left the square. They were filled with emotions and expectations. The vice principal was lying in a pavilion in the south. Suddenly, a trace of seriousness appeared on his usually calm face for the first time. 2 beautiful silhouettes floated in the air like jade waves and quietly landed in the vice principal's garden. I didn't expect that my heavenly song branch of the wasteland would welcome such rare guests. Excuse me for not going out to meet you. May I know why you came to my heavenly song branch? The vice principal stood up and solemnly clasped his hands. We're here for someone. The blue-clothed person among the 2 beautiful figures spoke indifferently. Hearing this, the vice principal's eyes flashed with a trace of shrewdness. Late at night, Sky Dragon Mountain Range's eastern area. A mushroom-like herb the size of a finger was growing under a towering tree. It was glowing with a silver light, but it was uprooted in less than a moment. Lin Shan pulled out the dragon tendon grass and narrowed his eyes. The efficiency is too low. I have only found 2 dragon tendon grass. I need to find a high position where I can use my purple golden eyes to its fullest. Suddenly, Lin Shan put the dragon tendon grass to his nose and sniffed it with an intoxicated expression. It smells so good. If this dragon tendon grass is used to barbecue my little prince, it will definitely be a first-class ingredient. The Sky Dragon Mountain Range was said to be formed by the remains of a giant dragon in ancient times. This place was nourished by the dragon's blood and produced many unique herbs. The dragon tendon grass was one of them. It had the effect of calming the mind. If it was used in large quantities to refine pills, it could also be used to nourish spiritual energy. It was a top-grade medicinal ingredient. Although the food was fragrant, Lin Shan couldn't bear to eat it now. This was related to his exam results. After putting away the dragon tendon grass, Lin Shan continued to move forward. He was mainly looking for higher hills and cliffs so that he could use his purple gold pupils. 15 minutes later, Lin Shan arrived at a mountain peak that was several hundred meters tall. He looked around and activated his purple gold pupils with all his might. The scenery of the entire world became completely different in Lin Shan's eyes. Purple lightning overflowed, spiritual qi turned into mist, and a portion of the power of the great Tao was faintly captured by him. Strands of silver mist rose from the void. The location of the silver mist was the location of the dragon tendon grass. He saw that in the northwest direction, there was a strong silver cyclone that didn't dissipate. It was at least 30 meters in size. Lin Shan's gaze quickly locked onto the exact location of the silver cyclone. So many? Are they all dragon tendon grass? Using the wind thunder fire steps, Lin Shan rushed towards the location of the silver cyclone. After half an hour, Lin Shan arrived at the location of the silver cyclone. It was a dilapidated valley. Lin Shun was lying on top of a dilapidated ancient tree. The valley was filled with killing intent. Withered grass was everywhere. It was obvious that there was a terrifying, ferocious beast lying in wait. Just by using his spiritual energy, Lin Shun discovered that there was a huge python lying in wait in a large amount of withered grass. Moreover, it had already reached the 4th grade, in a nest made of a large amount of withered grass. Lin Shun saw hundreds of dragon tendon grass stacked together. Most importantly, there was a silver treasure chest floating above the pile of dragon tendon grass. It really is dragon tendon grass. Lin Shun, who was hiding in the tree, had his eyes lit up. He sprinkled a large amount of disinfectant powder on his body to eliminate his presence and carefully approached the nest. 1 step, 10 steps, 100 steps. Lin Shun's purple gold eyes were constantly observing the huge python under the withered grass. It seemed to still be in a state of deep sleep. The energy in its body was surging, and it had not woken up. Walking into the lair, Lin Shun opened his storage ring and put all of the dragon tendon plants into it. At the same time, he made a grabbing motion with one hand and grabbed the silver treasure chest that was floating in the air. Host has opened the ancient bronze treasure chest. Obtained. Roar. The system screen had just popped up. Before Lin Shun could even look at it, a roar tore through the night sky. Shit, that big guy has woken up. Lin Shun's scalp went numb, not caring about anything else. He quickly spread out the true flame purple phoenix wings and turned into a purple flame meteor under the night sky, flying towards the horizon. Boom! The earth shook and the mountains shook. A huge monster, tens of feet tall, appeared out of nowhere. It stood on 3 legs and had horns on its head. Its huge tail swept and smashed the nest into smithereens. If Lin Shun was 1 step slower, he would have been smashed into meat paste by this huge monster. It is a demonic horn python that is about to evolve into a horned dragon. Lin Shun took in a cold breath. This huge monster looked like it was at the initial stage of the 4th tier, but its combat ability was comparable to a 5th-level Earth Realm martial artist. The demonic horned python's bloodthirsty and violent eyes stared at Lin Shun, who was in the sky. Its massive python body soared into the sky, shattering the ground in all directions, and pounced at him in a frenzy. What the F***CK? Sky Dragon Mountains, Tong, Xian River. There were several groups of examinees who had set up camp here. There were more than 200 of them. Now was the time when the beasts were most active. They were all planning to move during the day. Bang! Suddenly, a meteor shot down from the horizon and fell into the Tong Xian River, causing a huge splash. It startled the examinees who were resting with their eyes closed and immediately woke up. What is going on? What happened? Is there an attack from the beasts? Or did the opposing group sneak attack us? Many of the examinees immediately went on alert. They saw a drenched figure standing by the riverside, panting like a cow. Over 100 examinees looked at him in shock. Damn it, this big monster is crazy. Lin Shun wiped off the traces of blood at the corner of his mouth. He didn't expect for the demonic horned python to not even give him a chance to soar into the sky and immediately pounced on him. Roar! The demonic horned python, which had been violently attacking, was able to destroy mountains and rocks. It crashed into the Tong Xian River's mountains and cut off the river's flow. It appeared out of nowhere in front of all the examinees. The appearance of this matchless beast caused all the examinees' faces to turn pale like paper. For Tier 4 beast, 3-legged horned python. This is a demonic horned python, which is about to transform into a horned dragon. It is comparable to an expert at the 5th level of the Earth Realm and above. Some of the more knowledgeable examinees exclaimed in shock as they looked at Lin Shun in bewilderment. What exactly was this person's background? He actually provoked such an overlord-class beast. In a dense forest dozens of miles away, a few mentors appeared and looked in the direction of the Tong Xian River with shock. What is the situation with this young man who suddenly appeared? How did he provoke such a big monster? What should we do? Should we make a move now? With the strength of these brats, they might just be wiped out by the demonic horn python. Let's make our move. And wait a moment. Let's take a good look. Within the Tongxian River, the demonic horn python let out a long roar and brandished both its claws. It aggressively attacked at Lin Chun. Since I am unable to escape, then I will have to face it head-on. Lin Chun took a deep breath and activated the Azure Dragon tattoo on his left arm. Chapter 55. Azure Dragon Bloodline. Release. A ferocious azure light enveloped Lin Chen's left arm, and a 10-meter-long azure dragon arm instantly formed. The aura it emitted stirred up the wind and clouds. Lin Chen took a step forward and charged forward. The azure dragon arm suddenly struck out violently, causing the air to collapse. The demonic serpent was caught off guard by Lin Chen's brazen counterattack. It raised its 4 claws and clashed head-on with Lin Chen. Bang! A violent gale swept across, and raging waves surged. The collision between the man and the serpent was like a meteor crashing into the earth. The collision created a violent hurricane that destroyed everything. More than 200 examinees were sent flying hundreds of meters away. Rawr! The demonic serpent let out a sharp cry as it was knocked into the Tongxian River by the Azure Dragon arm. After knocking down the demonic serpent in one move, it dropped a few attribute light balls. After Lin Chun picked them up, he hurriedly used his movement technique and fled. Seeing this scene, many examinees spat and stared blankly at the direction Lin Chun had left. Who is he? He actually knocked down a stage 4 demonic serpent in one move. The instructors, who were dozens of miles away from the examinees, were also dumbfounded. 200,000? No, above 230,000 tiger strength. This kid actually unleashed 230,000 tiger strength in an extremely short period of time. I can feel the domineering aura of the dragon clan from his body. This kid is truly a monster. The instructors and elders sighed, and their expressions changed slightly. Not good. That demonic serpent became even more violent after being knocked down. Make your move, or else those little guys will all die. I didn't expect such a dark horse to appear on the first day of the examination. Not long after he left the Tongxian River, Lin Chun heard a series of violent tremors behind him. Several powerful auras filled the air and suppressed the demonic serpent. It should be the instructors and elders. Lin Chun thought to himself. He ran madly all the way until he found a grassy area with clear terrain and sat on the ground. Lin Chun opened the system. He had yet to open the silver treasure chest he had obtained from the demonic horn python's lair. Host has opened the light silver treasure chest. Obtained 2,000 portions of premium dragon tendon grass. F*CK. Lin Chun jumped up in fright. He had spent so much effort to snatch over 100 portions of dragon tendon grass, but this treasure chest had 2,000 portions? Ha ha! This test is considered complete. It seems that I can search for opportunities to become stronger in the heavenly Dragon Mountain range. Lin Chun laughed heartily. Suddenly, a ferocious growl came from his stomach. Lin Chun was startled, and a feeling of fatigue spread through his body. Speaking of which, he had been picking up attribute light balls before entering Xiantian City and hadn't had a good meal. Battle Chi can help me avoid eating, but it can't satisfy my appetite. Lin Chun licked his lips. He was about to look for prey and hunt some vicious beasts to fill his stomach. Suddenly, Lin Chun looked at the dragon tendon grass in his hand and revealed a smirk. Deep in the night, low growls could be heard from time to time in the mountain range. 3 mentors stood on a griffin, monitoring the situation within a radius of a few hundred miles. At this moment, a crisp and spicy aroma drifted over, whetting one's appetite. There was also a refreshing fragrance that could cleanse one's mind. It smells so good. What is this smell? TSK, TSK, TSK. This old man has tasted all the delicacies in the 100 cities of the Waste region, but I haven't smelled such a fragrant treasure. It's in that direction. Let's go and take a look. The three mentors couldn't hold back their curiosity and flew towards the source of the fragrance. When they were close to the source, a young man's deep and magnetic voice could be heard. "It smells so good. Have you tried it before? It feels so spicy. Have you tried it before?" Handsome Lin Chen's singing. "Have you heard it before? Real grilled gluten. It's so spicy." On the vast grassland, a young man in a silver robe was holding a wire grill. He was holding a dozen skewers of grilled gluten in his hands. He skillfully sprinkled various seasonings, rinsed them with oil, and flipped them in one go. Oh my God, what kind of delicacy is this? Young people these days have such skills. Why don't we go down and get some from him to satisfy our cravings? Something's not right. Why does the thing on his skewers give me a familiar feeling? The three mentors were surprised, but at the same time, they looked at the skewers in Lin Chen's hands with even more suspicion. After taking a closer look, the three mentors were almost scared out of their wits. The skewers in this young man's hands were the rare, natural treasure of the Sky Dragon Mountain Range, dragon tendon grass. This young man is actually grilling dragon tendon grass? I was wondering why this thing smelled so good. It turns out that it's dragon tendon grass. The assessment has only been open for a day. Where to get so much dragon tendon grass? That's not the problem. There are so many portions of dragon tendon grass. It's enough to refine so many mind control pills. The three mentors were shocked, and their mouths twitched violently. Where did this freak come from? He actually grilled the herbs needed for the assessment. While the three mentors were feeling the pinch, Lin Shun had already finished grilling the skewers. He picked up a skewer of dragon tendon grass and stuffed it into his mouth. As he chewed, a spicy aroma filled the air. Coupled with the unique medicinal properties of the dragon tendon grass that could cleanse one's mind, the soft and slightly spicy aroma floated dozens of miles away. It was not inferior to any delicacies. The three mentors swallowed their saliva. This was too damn tempting. The crispy and numbing sauce wrapped around the dragon tendon grass that was crispy on the outside and tender on the inside. When it entered the mouth, it was coupled with the impact of the increasing mental power, seeping into the taste and smell. It made one feel as if the tip of the tongue and the brain were flying to the clouds. "Awesome," Lin Chen exclaimed. He finished the skewers in a few bites, making the mentors feel heartache and envy. This is too much of a waste of resources. Why don't we go down and stop him? But the rules of the assessment say that we can't interfere with the dragon tendon grass in the examinee's hands. While the three mentors were hesitating, Lin Shun had already finished more than 10 portions of dragon tendon grass. Just as the mentors were shaking their heads helplessly, thinking that Lin Shen's farce would end here, suddenly, Lin Shun took out nearly 100 portions of dragon tendon grass from his spirit storage ring. The three mentors were so shocked that they froze on the back of the griffin. If the previous dozen portions of dragon tendon grass were just a farce, then these nearly 100 portions of dragon tendon grass were no joke. He's skewering dragon tendon grass again. He's going to grill them and eat them. What the hell kind of examinee is this? Hurry up and report to Bald Elder. These 100 portions of dragon tendon grass are no joke. Just as the three mentors left, a group of people appeared in the forest 10 miles away from Lin Shun. There's a hint of dragon tendon grass in this aroma. There's a lot of it. Among the group of examinees that appeared in the forest, a young man in purple nodded affirmatively. Chapter 56. Big Brother Tang Feng. Is that dragon tendon grass in that kid's hands? Among the dozens of candidates, someone immediately discovered Lin Chen's position and situation. So many portions of dragon tendon grass. There should be at least 100 portions, right? No. Big Brother Tang Feng. That kid is the freak who defeated the demonic dragon python in one move at Tongxian River. Some sharp-eyed candidates immediately recognized Lin Chen's identity and exclaimed, "So it's him. No wonder he found so many dragon tendon grass. Everyone, hold back for now. Li Zheng, Go and inform the other two candidate teams. Also, call In Xiaoqiu and Sunflower Prince over. We'll attack together and take all his dragon tending grass. Sky Dragon Mountain Range's eastern district. In a withered forest, a cold-looking youth stood with his spear behind his back. Two young geniuses appeared before him like flickering lights and passing shadows. They cupped their fists and spoke respectfully. Prince In Xiaoqiu, our big brother Tang Feng has an urgent cooperation with you. Cooperation? At the eastern district of the mountain range, an enchanting young master dressed in a sunflower robe was standing by a lake. He was wearing a long sunflower robe, and his fingers were raised like an orchid flower. He was carefully observing himself in the lake, and he was intoxicated by it. Beside him, two other candidates were standing restlessly. After a while, the enchanting prince revealed a smile and chuckled. Over 100 portions of dragon tending grass? Defeated a class 4 dire beast. Interesting whoosh. With a flick of his fingers, the enchanting prince disappeared like a ghost. As for Lin Shun, he already knew that there were 3 candidate teams surrounding him. There were a total of 100 people, and all of them were at least at spirit detecting stage 7. Since you want to wait, I'll wait with you. Take your time. Lin Shin picked up 10 skewers of spicy grilled dragon tending grass and ate heartily. Since the moment they started monitoring Lin Shun, all the candidate teams were shocked. This guy was actually grilling such an important ingredient, and it was the key ingredient to pass the exam, dragon tending grass. If not for their fear of Lin Shin's strength, they would have already rushed up and snatched it. He's actually grilling dragon tending grass. Oh my God, where did this lunatic come from? This is a precious medicinal ingredient that can be exchanged for credits. Mother Faster's cur. He's already eaten more than 20 skewers. He's finished all 4 of the passes. Let's just fight our way up. The move he used to repel the demonic horned python might be a life-saving trump card, and he might not be able to use it now. Every time Lin Chun ate a skewer, the team that ambushed him fell a heartache. When he had eaten more than 60 skewers, someone was about to lose his patience. The spirit storage ring flashed, and Lin Shun took out another 100 portions of dragon tending grass, completely stupefying all the candidate teams. Where the hell did he get so much dragon tending grass? Are we participating in the same assessment? He could probably pick up a bunch of dragon tending grass from anywhere he wanted. They didn't lie to me. You really do have a lot of dragon tending grass. The leaves fell, and the night wind was bleak. 100 steps away from Lin Shun, an enchanting young master stood with a sword in his arms. He sized up Lin Shun with great interest, and when he saw the dragon tending grass beside the grill, a hint of greed flashed across his eyes. It's the desolate region's top 10 rookie swordsman, Sunflower Young Master. The candidates' morale was boosted, and they began to reveal themselves. I want 30 portions of this brat's dragon tending grass. A gust of wind blew, and the young man's figure stood straight. He walked with a spear on his back, and his cultivation was similar to Sunflower Young Master's. He was an expert at the 5th level of the Battle Soul Realm. In Xiaoqiu, I didn't expect you to come as well. Sunflower Young Master chuckled, and fear flashed across his eyes. Thank you for coming. Today, I hope everyone can give me some face and share the dragon tending grass with my friends. Tang Feng led the last candidate team and slowly walked out. He cupped his hands and smiled. Tang Feng, with 3 hands? Fine, I'll give you some face and capture this brat first. The two of them looked at each other. Among the young geniuses present, only Tang Feng had the qualifications to be on equal footing with them. These 3 geniuses were considered the top in the entire desolate region. The so-called by Xiao Hui was not even qualified to carry their shoes. I say, have you guys finished distributing the dragon tending grass? I'm just full and want to warm up. I thought you guys were going to squat until dawn. Lin Shin slowly put away all the dragon tending grass. Then, he hooked his finger at the 3 leaders and chuckled in a mocking manner. You know, we're ambushing you, and you still dare to be so calm. You're courting death. Tang Feng laughed sinisterly and took the initiative to strike first. A blood-colored battle chi palm stretched out like a claw, launching a surprise attack on Lin Shun. Battle Soul Realm. The battle chi in the body transforms into a battle soul crystal, and the battle chi materializes for the first time. The power of the battle chi increases sharply. Force him to use his trump card. Tang Feng shouted coldly. Over 100 young geniuses activated their battle techniques, and their momentum could be said to be overwhelming. The wind and clouds within a radius of 10 miles changed. Cold condensing sword art. Soul extinguishing spear. Yin Xiaoqiu and Sunflower Lord used their ultimate skills. Sword and spear lights were like coiling dragons as they pointed at Lin Shun. The ground cracked and mountains and forests were destroyed in just a breath's time. Such a complicated torrent of attacks was not inferior to the power of a Class 4 dire beast. It might even be stronger. I've been waiting for you guys to make a move. You guys are in trouble today. The Azure Dragon tattoo on Lin Chen's left arm flickered. The Azure Dragon arm was like a horned dragon as it furiously struck out. It swept across the land and crushed all the battle chi attacks within 100 feet of him. The Azure Dragon arm's strength reached 200,000 Tiger Force, and it crushed all the attacks. The Azure Dragon arm slapped down furiously, and Tang Feng, Sunflower Lord, and Yin Xiaoqiu, who were standing at the front, were all sent flying. Isn't this his trump card? How can he use it so skillfully? Tang Feng, who was vomiting blood, was shocked. At this time, Lin Shun had already put away the Azure Dragon arm. With the 7-star soul snatching spear in his hand, he turned into a flash of wind, thunder, and fire, killing his way into the group of young geniuses. Soul snatching spear rain. The needle-like sharpness was like a torrential downpour of pear blossoms. A single move sent dozens of people flying, and a few of them were severely injured by Lin Chen's spearlight. In just one move, they were sent flying and fell unconscious. Long silver sky, splitting sword. Over a dozen young geniuses drew their swords and formed an encirclement sword formation. The snow-white sword light that was flickering with silver light came at Lin Shun, sealing off all his escape routes. Demonic Battle Fire King Imprint. Battle Chi burst out from his palm as a 50,000 Tiger Force Battle Chi imprint was blasted out. It shattered the sword formation with a single palm and forced the dozen young geniuses back, causing them to vomit blood as they retreated. With just Lin Chen's pure strength, he was already able to go head-to-head with a first-level Earth Realm martial artist. Coupled with his peak-grade green tier combat skill, he was practically unstoppable in this group of people. These examinees might have high innate talents, but they were at most at the second level of the Battle Soul Realm. Most of them couldn't even last a single move from Lin Shun. Over 100 examinees were sent flying by Lin Shun alone. Large amounts of attribute light balls fell and piled up on the ground. They were colorful and dazzling. Chapter 57. Berserk Demon Spear. A faint line of blood tore through the air. The line of blood was extremely fast, like a bolt of lightning. Along the way, it instantly cut down a 1,000-year-old ancient tree. Lin Chen squinted his eyes. His 5 fingers moved, and the soul-seizing spear spun around, thrusting out. Clang! The 2 spears clashed. The tip of Yin Xiaoqiu's spear and the soul-seizing spear collided. Lin Chen's battle aura cultivation was far inferior to Yin Xiaoqiu's, but with the support of pure strength, he was able to push him back. Sunflower 3 Absolute Swords. Right after Yin Xiaoqiu was repelled, Tang Feng and Sunflower Young Master flanked Lin Shun from both sides. The sky was filled with blooming sunflower phantoms, each phantoms containing hundreds of killing intents, and a large amount of sword chi was exterminating. Fatal Soul Seizing. Lin Shun threw out the 7-star Soul Seizing Spear with one hand. It turned into a meteor and flew out, piercing through the sunflower sword energy and exploding into starlight. 10 piercing blood hands. Tang Feng attacked Lin Shun from the left. His 5 fingers were like blades, and a vast demonic killing intent rolled out, aiming for Lin Shen's heart, piercing her head. His left fist was like a giant hammer that could destroy mountains. Lin Shen slightly activated the Azure Dragon bloodline, and the strength of his left arm increased to 90,000 tiger power. Suddenly, he violently hit Tang Feng's hand blade. Bang! Crack! The sound of bones cracking was hair-raising. Tang Feng was like a kite with a broken string falling to the ground. Ah, my hand! Tang Feng held his bent and deformed arm and rolled on the ground in pain. Lin Chun landed on the ground, and the whole place was filled with cries of pain. Many young talents were lying on the ground, unable to move. After Yin Xiaoqiu and Sunflower Prince were pushed back by Lin Chun, they instantly escaped and disappeared without a trace. The three top geniuses of the wasteland, Sunflower Prince, Yin Xiaoqiu, and Tang Feng. One injured, one escaped, and one was disabled. In addition, he had fought against over 100 examinees by himself. When this kind of battle record fell into the eyes of the examinees, they were all shocked and panicked. This Lin Chun was simply so strong that he was comparable to a monster. Lin Chun looked disdainfully at the entire field. No one dared to look him in the eye. Many of the examinees were trembling in fear. This demon wouldn't kill them, right? Although the rules of the examination stated that killing was not allowed, who would use common sense to predict this fellow's actions? He was a monster that ate dragon tendon grass like barbecued meat. Lin Chun began to bend down and pick up the many attribute light balls. He couldn't be bothered with the examinees lying on the ground. Host has received 185 points of spiritual power. The host has received 7,985 cultivation method soul essences. The host has received 12,576 battle chi essences. The host has received a top-tier green battle skill, Heaven's Seal, sword technique. Lin Chun absorbed a large number of attribute balls into his body, as well as a series of treasure chests. These attribute light balls were dropped by the examinees. Most of them were battle chi essences and cultivation method soul essences. This was also one of the important reasons why Lin Chun wanted to fight with them. The attribute light balls dropped by the beasts were mostly the 5 elements or blood energy. There were less cultivation method soul essences and battle chi essences. As for Lin Chen's mysterious spiritual power cultivation method, the Genesis Holy Scripture required a large amount of cultivation method soul essences to reach a higher level. Other than that, his cultivation realm also required a large amount of battle chi essences. The appearance of these examinees just happened to fill in the gaps in his cultivation. These examinees' cultivation realm were all higher than Lin Chen's. Their cultivation method was also not bad, so the battle chi essences attribute light balls they dropped were all different from normal people. The value was very high. Host has received a total of 116,000 cultivation method essences, 240,000 battle chi essences, 25,400 gold energy points, 29,800 wood energy points, 34,100 water energy points, 27,700 fire energy points, and 23,100 earth energy points. The host has absorbed all the battle chi essences and advanced to the 4th and 5th level of the spirit detecting realm. Many of the examinees lying on the ground looked at Lin Chun in shock. He bent down and touched the air. He actually broke through to the 5th level of the spirit detecting realm in one breath. After absorbing all the attribute light balls, the true water origin techniques realm increased by another level. His cultivation realm also increased by 2 levels. Lin Chun patted the dust off his body with satisfaction. Just as he was about to leave, he saw Tang Feng's venomous and resentful eyes. It seems like you're not convinced. Although it was thanks to you that I was able to break through, that claw of yours was meant to take my life. Lin Chun walked in front of him and said with a smile. Tang Feng laughed maniacally. Brat, don't be so proud. You can't kill people in this exam. My cousins are both in the inner court of the Heavenly Song Academy and are famous people. If you give me the dragon tendon grass now, maybe I can let bygones be bygones. Otherwise, when you enter the academy, I have 100 ways to kill you." "Oh, you have 100 ways to kill me?" Lin Shun pretended to be frightened and then revealed a sinister smile. "I'm afraid you don't know that I have 100 ways to cripple you right now." Crack! The sound of bones breaking rang out again, and Tang Feng's screams echoed in a radius of more than 10 miles. Until Lin Chun left, all the examinees felt cold and their teeth chattered. Early in the morning, more than a dozen teachers and elders arrived from the sky on lion eagles. When they saw the large amount of examinees on the ground and the shocking traces of battle, they all looked at each other in shock. The bald old man in the lead stepped on the air and landed on the ground. His old eyes narrowed slightly, as if he had seen the intense battle that had happened here. After a while, the bald old man exclaimed, "He killed more than 100 examinees by himself and even fought against 3 talented youths. He still obtained an overwhelming victory. Not simple, not simple." On the second day of the assessment, Lin Shun started to rush to the central area of the Sky Dragon mountain range. He had already collected the dragon tendon grass that he needed for the assessment. The many heaven and earth treasures in the Sky Dragon mountain range were his targets. He wanted to plunder them well, so that he could use them for alchemy in the future. With a secret technique like the purple gold eyes, Lin Shun found heaven and earth treasures as easily as taking something out of a bag. In just 2 days, he had collected all the high-grade herbs in the east and south districts into his spirit storage ring. When everyone was looking for the dragon tendon grass, he had already made a fortune. On the morning of the 4th day, just as Lin Shun was about to go to the western part of the mountain range to plunder more medicinal herbs, he noticed a majestic dragon chi rising from the center of the Sky Dragon mountain range. It lingered in the 9 heavens and did not dissipate. "What's this?" Lin Shun was shocked. When he activated the purple gold eyes, he found that he could not see through the thing hidden in the dragon aura. Could it be that some extraordinary item has appeared? Let's go take a look. Lin Shun turned and went to the central area of the Sky Dragon mountain range. At noon, in the central area of the Sky Dragon mountain range, there was a mountain peak that reached the clouds. It was like a tiger crouching and a dragon coiling between heaven and earth. It was extremely steep and the mountain was vertical. There were only a few steps for one to stand on. The peak of the mountain had pierced through the clouds, and the peak could not be seen. In addition, beside this mountain, there was a small volcano with a majestic aura. The volcano was emitting blazing fire element energy. At the foot of the steep mountain, many people gathered. Most of them had retreated to the foot of the mountain and were looking at it in amazement. There were dozens of people standing at the foot of the mountain. There were both men and women, and they were all examinees who were taking part in the assessment. They had an extraordinary aura. There were dragons and phoenixes accompanying them. They had a dignified appearance, and there was arrogance and disdain between their eyebrows. These dozens of people were basically the top group of martial arts prodigies from the east, west, north, and south districts of the Sky Dragon mountain range. Chapter 58. Among the group of people at the foot of the mountain, other than Bai Juanhao, the lowest cultivation was at the 5th level of the Battle Soul realm. The oldest was no more than 25 years old, and they were all geniuses that could only be born out of tens of millions of people. At this moment, this group of geniuses were all carefully sizing up the extraordinary mountain in front of them. This is the true Dragon Mountain. Legend has it that it is 88,000 meters tall and has more than 9,600 steps. The higher the steps, the greater the recognition of the true dragon. A white-clothed young master smiled while holding a fan. His eyes flickered with a strong fighting spirit. "Linzaheo, what's wrong? You can't hold back anymore." The girl behind the white-clothed young master covered her mouth and chuckled. There was a sense of arrogance between her brows. We naturally have to give it a try. It is said that no one has ever reached the top of this mountain. The highest record is 3,781 steps. There are still 2/3 of the way to the 9,600 steps. The higher the height, the stronger the dragon's might will be. Those who can withstand the dragon's might will be baptized by the true dragon. Only then will they be a true genius. The geniuses looked at each other and were ready to make a move. Those who could stand here were all the top geniuses of the wasteland. They were not convinced by each other, but they couldn't fight one by one to determine who was better. Therefore, the competition on the True Dragon Mountain was the ranking of this year's top geniuses. Whoever climbed the most steps would be the #1 freshman of the Heavenly Song Academy. Swish! Sword light flashed, and a red-clothed young man with a sword on his back leaped up and landed on the 10th step of the stone platform. It's the #1 sword genius of the South Moon City, the blazing swordsman, Xiao Yu. The surrounding examinees exclaimed in surprise. Xiao Yu walked as if he was flying, jumping up from the 10th step of the stone platform. In one breath, he climbed more than 100 steps. Let's go up too. A few geniuses rubbed their fists and were eager to give it a try. They jumped onto the stone platform of the True Dragon Mountain together and followed closely behind Xiao Yu. All the geniuses of the wasteland jumped onto the stone platform. The dragon and the phoenix followed, rushing up the True Dragon Mountain together. This scene attracted more and more examinees to stop nearby to witness this battle that only belonged to the geniuses of the wasteland. 30 miles away from True Dragon Mountain, on top of a cliff, two beauties, one green and one purple, were wearing veils, hiding their true appearances. Seeing that the prodigies had already begun to charge towards the True Dragon Mountain, the green-clothed girl smiled mischievously and said, "Hee, big sister, do you think the two of us will directly reach the top if we go over?" The purple-clothed woman smiled gracefully. "Qing'er, don't be rude. Everything in the world has spirituality. We have to look at all things that have existed for a long time with equal gazes, because every single one of them has their own heritage that has been passed down until now. They cannot be underestimated. TSK, how can those ugly melons and dates compare to me and my sister Aya? Just let Qing'er play for a bit." The green-robed girl hugged the purple-robed girl's arm and acted coquettishly. The purple-robed girl's slender fingers tapped her snow-white forehead and warned her in a slightly serious tone. "Qing'er, don't make a fuss. This time, we definitely can't reveal our identities. Being able to make the vice headmaster give us a way out and allow us to enter this place for a tour is already a very good result." Hearing the purple-clothed woman's warning, the green-clothed girl stuck out her tongue and didn't dare to mention it again. "I wonder if that Lynchen will appear. My sister and I specially came here for this. If he doesn't appear, I'll personally beat him up until he comes to see my sister." The purple-robed girl could only shake her head helplessly at the green-clothed girl's playfulness. True Dragon Mountain. For hours had passed, and the geniuses who were climbing the mountain began to gradually reach a bottleneck. Some had already stopped at the 1,000th step of the stone platform, panting like cows and sweating profusely. Some had already reached the 2,000th step. Although they hadn't reached their limit, they also began to show signs of fatigue and exhaustion. The dragon's aura washed down like a tide. Every time the stone platform was raised, a soul-shaking dragon's aura would emerge. It was all-pervasive, invading one's flesh, blood, spirit, and even battle chi. Under the suppression of this dragon's aura, not to mention moving, even maintaining a clear mind was extremely difficult. Many geniuses who had reached their limit could only sit down cross-legged on the ground and use the dragon's aura to help them refine their battle chi, making it more condensed and no longer difficult to break through the current bottleneck. This kind of opportunity only came once. After climbing the True Dragon Mountain a second time, the effect of the dragon's aura refining battle chi would be minimal. South Moon City's Xiao Yu has already reached the 3,500th step. Dragon Sun Empire's Blue Dragon Crown Prince is only 10 steps away from Xiao Yu. Ice Palace's Lady Ling is also on the 3,400th step. The candidates outside the True Dragon Mountain were all excited. The highest record in history was 3,781 steps. This time, there were actually 3 top geniuses who had stepped onto the 3,000th step of the stone platform. Perhaps there would be a new record, Because of this, everyone's attention was focused on the three figures at the top of the mountain. An afterimage of a sword light was like lightning. After a few twists and turns, it surpassed the three most anticipated people in one breath. Who is it? All the candidates exclaimed. Even the teachers who were watching couldn't help but be surprised. The dragon's aura above the 3,500 step was already very terrifying. There was actually someone who could use a movement technique and move at such a fast speed. That person was dressed in a long green robe with a 3-foot-long green sword hanging from his waist. His eyes were bright like stars as he looked down at everyone from high above. From head to toe, he emitted a peerless and sharp killing intent that was dazzling to the eyes and horrifying to the extreme. This person's sword was not out of its sheath, but it was already peerless. If he unsheathed his sword, wouldn't the wind and clouds change? I remember it now. It's Lu Jianqing from the drunken immortal sword manor, a peerless genius who appeared out of nowhere half a year ago. He's known to have the bloodline of the Sword King. Two young candidates seemed to have recalled something as they exclaimed in unison. Bloodline of the Sword King? Hearing this name, all the candidates could only look up at Lu Jianqing in the sky. They couldn't even think of anything illogical. Lu Jianqing's aura was like tens of thousands of swords shooting out at the same time. Even a strand of his hair was as sharp as a sword. He was like a battle soul stage cultivator at the same level. He probably didn't even need to unsheath his sword. A bunch of ants. I'm the one who's going to reach the peak of the Waste Realm. Lu Jianqing looked down at Xiao Yu and the Blue Dragon Crown Prince who were beside him. Then, he jumped into the air and jumped to a higher position on the stone platform. How dare you talk to me so rudely? After we get off the True Dragon Mountain, I'll teach you a lesson, you bastard. The Blue Dragon Crown Prince shouted angrily. On the other hand, Xiao Yu looked serious. It was already very difficult for them to reach the 3,570th step. They didn't expect Lu Jianqing to be able to do it so easily. In the end, Xiao Yu stopped at the 3,605th step and failed to break the record. The Blue Dragon Crown Prince was 15 steps behind. He could only sit cross-legged on the stone platform and take the time to rest. Lu Jianqing ran like a hot knife through butter. Under the witness of all the candidates and mentors, he reached the 3,951st step, which was more than 100 steps higher than the previous record. It shocked everyone. Looks like there's going to be another peerless warrior in the Waste Realm in the next few years. I think there's no need for this kid to stay in the outer yard. Let's bring him into the inner yard. Only the older student from the inner court can suppress him. Many mentors and elders nodded in approval. They had high hopes for Lu Jianqing. With his kid's talent, he can only occupy a small space in the Waste Realm. The peerless warrior you're talking about is just a slightly stronger ant in some people's eyes. At this moment, the vice principal who was sitting on the clouds spoke. Many mentors looked at the vice principal in surprise. The vice dean muttered to himself as he gazed at the cliff not far away with a deep gaze. Someone who can stand at the peak of the world and become a peerless warrior has come to our inner yard. As soon as the vice dean said this, all the instructors kept quiet out of fear. Their expressions were filled with fear. Chapter 59. Lu Jianqing had appeared out of nowhere and suppressed everyone. There was no suspense. Just when all the spectating candidates thought that the battle between the new geniuses had ended, a ghostly figure appeared at the bottom of the mountain. So it's a mountain. I thought some treasure had appeared. The silver-robed youth shook his head in disappointment and sighed. All the candidates were bewildered. Who is this guy? What did he get there? Isn't this the pervert who wanted to molest teacher Li Ruoyan? Damn, it's really him. Pervert, get out. Don't insult True Dragon Mountain, this sacred place. Get out, get out. Lin Shen still hadn't figured out what was going on. The candidates outside True Dragon Mountain were all shouting for Lin Shen to get out in disdain, making him confused. Nowadays, people are jealous of just being handsome. The green-robed girl on the cliff outside True Dragon Mountain exclaimed. Sister, it's him. He really came. The purple-robed girl smiled elegantly and nodded. His left arm has the bloodline of the Azure Dragon. His body refinement foundation is strong, and his cultivation is at the spirit detecting realm. It's exactly the same as the information provided by the city lord of Wanling City. Looks like it can't be wrong. Those candidates who were instantly defeated by Lin Shun looked at Lin Shun in fear. How did this devil find his way here? The bald elder in charge of the test had a gleam in his eyes. It's actually this brat. He's the monster who fought the 3 geniuses alone. Oh, so they didn't want me to get close to this place and wanted me to get out. Since you don't want me to go up, I'll go up. Lin Shin chuckled and jumped into the air. He made a few turns in the air and landed steadily on the stone platform of the 30th step. The moment he stepped on the stone platform of True Dragon Mountain, the dragon's aura was like an all-pervasive hurricane. Lin Shun felt an invisible pressure on his head. Roar! Just as this oppressive feeling appeared, the Azure Dragon tattoo on Lin Chen's left arm emitted a low roar, forming a vortex that actually absorbed all of this dragon might into the Azure Dragon's arm. The pressure on Lin Chun instantly lessened. Following the absorption of dragon's might, Lin Chun discovered that his Azure Dragon arm was beginning to awaken a vague memory. This dragon might actually makes my Azure Dragon arm feel sublimated. Licking his lips, Lin Shun was overjoyed. He didn't expect that there would be such a fortuitous encounter on this strange mountain. Boom! This time, Lin Shun seriously exerted his strength. A terrifying power suddenly erupted from the soles of his feet. With the agility of his movement technique, he instantly rushed up to the 500th step of the stone platform. Along the way, he turned and changed directions at lightning speed. His speed was so fast that many of the instructors were shocked. The Azure Dragon arm released a whirlpool-like suction force, swallowing all of the dragon might and dragon chi. Lin Shun was like a hot knife through butter, rushing to the 1,000th step in a short span of 10 breaths, arriving at the first batch of desolate realm prodigies. 5th level of the spirit detecting realm? What's going on with this brat? The 5 prodigies at the 1,000th step of the stone platform were dumbfounded. Lin Chen's speed was as fast as lightning as he swept past the stone platforms beside them, advancing to even higher places. Bald Elder, what kind of monster is this brat? Some of the instructors, sitting on their griffins, were shocked speechless. The Bald Elder floating in the air let out a strange laugh. This is nothing strange. This brat was able to solo over 100 candidates and defeat 3 top prodigies of the Desolate Realm. If he doesn't even have this kind of speed, then it would be too much for him. Hearing Bald Elder's reply, some of the instructors who saw Lin Shun for the first time had expressions of disbelief. Just a 5th level spirit detecting realm cultivator was able to solo over 100 candidates. Lin Shun was like a hot knife through butter, rushing all the way to the 2,000th step of the stone platform. Bai Juanhao was at the 245th step of the stone platform. He was the youngest prodigy to reach the top of the True Dragon Mountain. At this moment, Bai Juanhao was sitting cross-legged and focused. It was obvious that as an Azure Dragon bloodline holder, he had also had a fortuitous encounter here. Lin Shin smiled at this and increased his speed. Even when he reached the 3,000th step of the stone platform, his speed still didn't decrease. 3,200 steps. His potential is actually so terrifying. Li Ruoyan, who was participating in the invigilation, trembled slightly and covered her cherry lips with her jade-like hands. Prodigies who could reach the 3,000th step had unimaginable potential and battle strength. Even Li Ruoyan herself didn't have enough confidence to win against them. Didn't this mean that even if Lin Shun didn't use those despicable moves back then, he could still easily pass her test? This brat is so mischievous. He actually hid his strength so deeply. In the blink of an eye, Lin Shun had already surpassed the Dragon Sun Empire's Azure Dragon Crown Prince and the 2nd place Xiaoyu. When he reached the 3,700th step of the stone platform, his speed started to slow down. At this moment, the dragon's power had reached the limit of what the Azure Dragon arm could handle. Lin Shun had to rely on his flesh shell, battle chi cultivation, and even spiritual energy to resist the excess dragon's power that the Azure Dragon arm couldn't handle. He has surpassed Xiaoyu. Is he going to break Lu Jianxing's record? The candidates held their breaths and stared at the number of steps that Lin Shun had jumped. They were even counting silently in their hearts. Are you kidding me? I have already decided to start from True Dragon Mountain and look down on all the prodigies in the Waste Realm. How can I let a brat ruin my plan? Lu Jianxing, who was on the 3,951st step of the stone platform, opened his eyes. They were sharp and domineering. His sword chi was awe-inspiring. When Lin Shun was close to the 3,942nd step of the stone platform, Lu Jianxing used his finger as a sword and used the little battle chi he could muster. He pointed two of his fingers, and a faint green sword mark flashed across the sky. It was pointed directly at Lin Shun. How dare he launch a sneak attack? This Lu Jianxing is too mean and narrow-minded. When Lu Jianxing made his move, the candidates and the instructors all had the same thought. Although there was no rule against fighting on True Dragon Mountain, it was despicable to sneak an attack. How dare you sneak an attack on Brother Chun? I don't want to mess with you. You're courting death. Lin Shun activated his purple golden eyes and leaped onto the stone platform like a dragonfly skimming on the water surface. He leaped onto the roof and vaulted over the wall. He turned around in the air and easily dodged the green sword mark. Hee, you can't hit me. Are you angry? When Lin Shun brushed past Lu Jianxing, he even gave him the middle finger. In the end, he landed on a stone platform that was one step higher than Lu Jianxing's. He even did a moonwalk and was just ahead of Lu Jianxing on the 6th step of the stone platform. Lin Shun was on top of Lu Jianxing's head. They were only 3 meters apart. Damn it, this brat has a lot of tricks up his sleeve. I can't believe he can still do that under such a powerful dragon force. Lu Jianxing, who was furious, could only sit back down and gnash his teeth. However, Lin Shun never played by the rules. He stood on top of Lu Jianxing's head and smiled innocently like a child. Sire, you've just ambushed me, and yet you're still able to sit back and cultivate calmly. Such shamelessness is truly admirable, truly admirable. With a smile, Lin Shun took out a pair of masks and a pair of custom-made gloves from his storage ring. After putting on the gloves and the mask, Lin Shun took out a greenish-brown bottle from his low-rank storage ring under everyone's curious gazes. The low-rank storage ring that he got from the Shenwu sect was Lin Chen's treasure trove. It was used to store some of the most powerful items in the world. Looking at the bottle in his hand, Lu Jianxing had a bad feeling about it. When he opened a bottle, a horrible stench swept across the sky like a storm. The griffin beasts that were used by the teachers and elders all backed off. Even the spirit cranes that were thousands of meters above the ground were scared and flew away. It stinks. This brat is holding the poop of a high-rank green wild bear. He has a bottle of poop with him. Lin Shun looked at the bottle in his hand with satisfaction and introduced it to Lu Jianxing carefully. 1982 green wild bear poop, the essence of an omnivorous beast. Look at the color, the humidity, and the softness. This is a great treasure. Lu Jianxing felt a chill run down his spine. Is this brat going to, after the introduction, Lin Shun smashed the bottle of treasure on Lu Jianxing's face. You're eating poop. Chapter 60. F***CK. Lu Jianxing cursed when a whole bottle of green wild bear's feces fell on him. He was already at his limit at level 3,951. It was extremely difficult for him to operate his battle aura and move. When Lin Shun threw the feces, he had no chance to dodge at all. Bang! The whole bottle of green wild bear's feces fell on Lu Jianxing's head and splashed all over him. The horrible stench filled the sky. The candidates and instructors activated their battle aura and saw what was happening. They all burst into laughter. Ha ha! Lu Jianxing was drenched in feces. What a talent! Devil! You can mess with anyone in the future, but never this Lin Chun. This is so disgusting. Lu Jianxing is in a dilemma. If he retreats, he will miss the baptism of the dragon power on True Dragon Mountain. He deserves it. Who told him to sneak up on others? What a despicable guy. On the cliff outside True Dragon Mountain, the girl in green was laughing so hard. Sister, this Lin Chun is really bad. Ha ha ha. Judging from the forces and people he helped along the way, he shouldn't be an evil person. However, he should be a young man who will definitely take revenge. If you want to blame someone, blame that person for messing with him first. The girl in purple pursed her lips and smiled. This person's cultivation was not high, but his way of doing things was completely unique. While everyone was cheering, Lu Jianxing glared at Lin Chun as if he was looking at his father's murderer. However, before his hatred and anger could erupt, a certain Lin held a torch in his hand. It is said that the feces of beasts that have been left for a long time can easily ignite and explode. Please be careful when you play with fire. Also, explosions are art. The moment Lin Chun threw the torch down, he quickly turned around and dashed to a higher level. F*CK, this bastard. Lu Jianxing immediately turned around and jumped down the mountain. However, he was still one step too late. When the torch touched his hair, it suddenly burst into flames. Bang! The green wild bear's feces on Lu Jianxing's body suddenly burst into flames and exploded. Run! Run! *T exploded. Lu Jianxing got *T exploded. The moment Lu Jianxing exploded, the examinees at the foot of the True Dragon Mountain scattered in all directions in fear. They activated their battle chi to defend themselves, and the shooting stars that were blooming in the sky continuously fell to the foot of the True Dragon Mountain. The explosion had almost affected some of the geniuses on the True Dragon Mountain. Fortunately, they had activated their defenses and arrived in time. Otherwise, they would have ended up like Lu Jianxing. Even the instructors took a few steps back. They were almost hit by the fireworks that exploded in the sky. This brat is really daring. Isn't he afraid of offending Lu Jianxing? Talent, what a talent. Ha ha. Lin Chun galloped all the way to the 4,100th step of the stone platform. The draconic aura began to obstruct Lin Chun further. When the bald elder and the Vice Academy master saw this scene, they looked at each other, and both of them were puzzled. That's not right. According to common sense, the draconic aura formed by the stone platform above the 4,000th step is already very powerful. Even if these little guys are at the 9th level of the Battle Soul realm, they would still find it hard to advance. However, the draconic aura's effect on this brat is strangely small. Seeing Lin Chun rush past the 4,200th step of the stone platform, even the Vice Academy master and the bald elder did not understand what was going on. When he reached the 4,270th step of the stone platform, Lin Chun was already close to his limit. The draconic aura at this height was enough to completely suppress his physical strength and mental strength. Even the Azure Dragon arm could not bear the burden. If he used the True Flame Purple Phoenix wings, he might be able to reach a higher height. At this moment, the draconic aura was being absorbed by the Azure Dragon arm. The consciousness hidden in the Azure Dragon bloodline began to awaken a brand new power. Boom! In less than a quarter of an hour, the Azure Dragon tattoo on Lin Chen's left arm throbbed. The Azure Dragon blood hidden in Lin Chen's body had awakened a new memory and was transmitted to Lin Chen's mind. Divine ability. Azure Dragon's soul-splitting claw condenses the dragon's aura to unleash a large-scale dragon breath attack. After using it, you will enter a weakened state. When in a weakened state, your strength will decrease by 4 to 50%. When Lin Chun accepted and fused with this memory, a look of ecstasy appeared on his face. System congratulates the host. The host's Azure Dragon bloodline has been tempered by the ancient draconic aura and awakened a new divine ability of the Dragon Clan. The system popped up a light screen. Lin Chun suppressed his excitement. This divine ability was not a battle skill, Lin Shan still needed to cultivate it himself before he could use it. Lin Shan activated his purple gold eyes and discovered that there seemed to be a faint and powerful mental fluctuation hidden above the true Dragon Mountain. Why is this draconic aura similar to the aura I sensed before? What is it? Suddenly, after Lin Shan calmed down, he discovered that the draconic aura that tempered his Azure Dragon arm was similar to some mental fluctuations. This kind of mental fluctuation, what did he feel this kind of aura before? I remember now, it's the dragon tendon grass. Lin Shan slapped his thigh, and a look of understanding appeared in his eyes. This Sky Dragon Mountain was originally formed by an ancient dragon, and the dragon tendon grass and the true Dragon Mountain were of the same origin. The relationship between the two could be said to be inseparable. However, because of the preciousness of the dragon tendon grass, no one would use it carelessly. They would only treat it as a precious medicinal ingredient, so naturally, no one would discover this secret. However, this range did not include Lin Shan, who was an anomaly. For 270 steps, this kid is so much more outstanding than Lu Jianxing. What a monstrous talent. He has broken the Academy's 1,000-year record. If he enters the Academy, he will probably be directly inducted into the inner courtyard, right? The teachers and elders exclaimed again and again. The examinees were both envious and hateful. If someone at the 5th level of the spirit detecting realm could enter the inner courtyard, then didn't that mean that the rest of them were not even at the 5th level of the spirit detecting realm? For these geniuses who had been recognized since they were young, this was not a small blow. Let's go. If we keep watching, we won't be able to survive. We are still missing one dragon tendon grass, so let's hurry up and pass the exam. Some of the disheartened people sighed and left. Just as they were about to leave, another examinee exclaimed, "Look, what is that Lin Shan doing?" Everyone looked over and saw Lin Shan sitting cross-legged on a stone platform with charcoal and steel wire netting. He was actually starting a fire. On the other 2 stone platforms near him, there were seasonings and large amounts of dragon tendon grass. They saw him skillfully skewer the dragon tendon grass with bamboo sticks, start a fire, add oil, and sprinkle seasonings. The battle cheese spurred the fire, and the fire grew bigger. In the blink of an eye, the dragon tendon grass was cooked. Roasted tendon. I like to eat it. Lin Shan hummed a little tune and stuffed 2 skewers of dragon tendon grass into his mouth. What is he doing? He is actually roasting dragon tendon grass on True Dragon Mountain? What the F***CK? He is deliberately showing off. There is so much dragon tendon grass. My God, he is actually roasting dragon tendon grass on the fire. Bastard. What a reckless waste of God's gift. I am still missing 1 dragon tendon grass to pass the exam. He is roasting dragon tendon grass to eat? He's F***king insane. Those examinees who hadn't collected enough dragon tendon grass were so angry that they gritted their teeth and flew into a rage. They almost vomited blood because of Lin Shan. Some of the alchemy department's elders and instructors were going crazy. Quick, stop this guy. This brat is crazy. He is definitely a madman. That is dragon tendon grass. The Sky Dragon Mountain range only produces a few thousand stalks a year. This brat took a few bites, and dozens of stalks disappeared. We cannot interfere with the usage of the dragon tendon grass. Calm down, Elder Shing. Calm down, you mother of ***cur. Chapter 61. When the elders and instructors of the alchemy department were about to go crazy and rush up, the vice principal spoke in a deep voice. According to the rules of the examination, no one is allowed to interfere with the way the examinees use or obtain the dragon tendon grass. Or do you not want to stay in the academy anymore? With that said, the elders and instructors of the alchemy department gritted their teeth and sighed deeply. On the stone platform, Lin Shan was lying down and eating, sitting down and eating horizontally, eating in all sorts of different ways. That kind of enjoyment and comfort made the examinees' hearts burn with anger. Seeing this, The elders' hearts were bleeding. F***CK. More than 100 stalks of dragon tendon grass were eaten by this brat like snacks. What a wastrel, what a waste. One stalk of dragon tendon grass could be used as the main ingredient for a third-level spirit-type pill. 5 stalks were essential ingredients for a fourth-level spirit-type pill. These 100 stalks were the main ingredient for eating more than 100 third-level spirit-type pills. This was a huge loss for any top power in the Wasteland region. The 3 instructors who saw Lin Shun roasting more than 100 stalks of dragon tendon grass a few days ago snickered in their hearts when they saw the alchemy department elder's heartache. Who told you old fellows to put on airs? If you knew that this brat also roasted more than 100 stalks a few days ago, wouldn't you be angered to death? Elder sister, what is he doing? The green-clothed girl at the edge of the cliff outside the True Dragon Mountain asked curiously. He seems to be eating a rare heavenly treasure. It seems to be the ingredient needed for this examination. That's why they are so nervous. The purple-clothed girl smiled with interest. This person was really unique. His style of doing things was completely unpredictable. On the True Dragon Mountain, Lin Shun, who had eaten more than 100 stalks of dragon tendon grass in one go, realized that the pressure of the True Dragon Mountain's dragon might on him had decreased a little. It's indeed useful. This dragon tendon grass and the True Dragon Mountain are of the same origin. I guess correctly. While everyone was still feeling heartache and anger, Lin Shun soared into the sky and began to rush to a higher position on the True Dragon Mountain. 4,270 steps, 4,350 steps, 4,495 steps, 4,761 steps. This speed of advancement left everyone dumbfounded. He actually reached the 4,800 step. The bald old man, who was walking in the air, trembled as he spoke. 4,800 steps. Didn't that mean that this kid's potential was unrivaled in the desolate region? The examinees, who were still fuming with rage, were now looking at Lin Shun, who was in the clouds, in a daze. How did this fellow suddenly run up more than 500 steps of the stone platform so energetically? I understand. It was the dragon tendon grass. The dragon tendon grass can resist the dragon might of the True Dragon Mountain, allowing this child to walk on the True Dragon Mountain stone platform as if he was flying. The experienced and knowledgeable Vice Dean immediately clapped his hands and cheered, suddenly coming to a realization. Thinking back to Lin Shin's behavior a few days ago, Old Bald slapped his forehead. No wonder this brat could rush up to the 4,800 stone steps. It turned out that he had eaten a large amount of dragon tendon grass. Lin Shun, who was standing on the 4,801 stone platform, stood firm and wiped his sweat. I've reached my limit again. I have to roast another batch of dragon tendon grass. How troublesome. I might as well finish it all at once before rushing up. Lin Shun was just about to set up the grill again when the ground suddenly shook violently. Boom, boom. The earth rumbled, and a force that could change the terrain came from the mountain next to True Dragon Mountain. Not good. The volcano is about to erupt. Old Bald squinted his eyes and appeared beside the teachers. Old Bald, should we suppress the volcanic eruption? There are still so many examinees nearby. A teacher suggested. Old Bald shook his head. Suppressing the volcanic eruption while also preventing the volcano from rebounding and endangering the examinees. This would require too much manpower, so it's not suitable for us to act now. You guys work together to activate the Battle Chi defense and evacuate the examinees. Just stay a distance away. What about the examinees on True Dragon Mountain? True Dragon Mountain has the protection of the Dragon Might, and these little fellows aren't simple people. The power of the volcanic eruption won't affect them too much. Don't worry. Old Bald waved his hand and began to instruct his men. Lin Shun, who was standing on the stone platform of True Dragon Mountain, looked down at the volcanic crater a few miles away from True Dragon Mountain. The intense and violent fire energy was boiling and brewing, about to erupt. So, it's a volcanic eruption, eh? Wait a minute, a volcanic eruption. I have a bold idea. Lin Shin suddenly thought of a plan and clapped his hands in praise. On the other side, the teachers and elders landed on the ground in an orderly manner. They stood in front of the examinees and activated a bowl-shaped battle chi barrier to envelop everyone. When the examinees heard the teacher's announcement and knew that the volcano beside True Dragon Mountain was about to erupt, they began to gradually evacuate and retreat to a further location. Prince Lin Chun, Shangwan Bihan, stared worriedly at Lin Chun, who was on True Dragon Mountain among the examinees. The power of the volcanic eruption was concentrated at a high place, so it was inevitable that it would affect Lin Chun. The wind and clouds suddenly changed, and the temperature in the air rose sharply. Smoke billowed, and a blazing wave swept across a radius of 100 miles. Suddenly, an examinee exclaimed in shock, "Look, what is that Lin Chun doing?" Everyone was stunned, and when they looked in Lin Chun's direction again, they couldn't help but suck in a cold breath. They saw Lin Chun holding a 10-meter-long silver steel skewer and stringing countless dragon tendon grass together, placing it right above the volcanic crater. Not to mention the examinees. Even the elders and bald elder twitched their mouths when they saw that there were no less than 1,000 dragon tendon grass. Seeing the position where he placed the dragon tendon grass in the air, all the teachers and elders were shocked. A terrifying and crazy conjecture popped up in their minds at the same time. Over 1,000 dragon tendon grass. That was equivalent to 200 examinees passing the exam. Lin Chun didn't care at all. He held a 100-meter-long silver steel skewer and strung over 1,000 dragon tendon grass together. He then covered the surface of the steel skewer and the dragon tendon grass with his wood elemental and water elemental battle chi to prevent them from being burnt due to the high temperature. Seeing this scene, the examinees had a thought that made their scalps numb. He placed over 1,000 dragon tendon grass above the volcanic crater. No. Many examinees even cried bitterly on the spot, as if their hearts had been cut by countless blades. Even if the dragon tendon grass was sold to them, it would be good. That was the golden key to passing the Heavenly Song Academy's exam and walking to the peak of martial arts. How many geniuses had lost this first step and didn't even have the chance to spread their wings and fly? Damn it, more than 1,000 dragon tendon grass. I don't care so much anymore. If I let this brat continue to spoil it, I will go crazy. A few elders of the medicine refining department couldn't hold back anymore. They wanted to ride on their griffins and fly into the sky. Wanted to snatch Lin Chun's dragon tendon grass. Bang! Rumble. The earth-shattering explosion shook the earth, causing a large number of griffins to retreat in fright. A raging firestorm erupted from the crater of the volcano. Like a scorching sun, countless streams of lava fell from the crater. The moment the volcanic crater erupted, all the dragon tendon grass were burned in an instant. Everyone would never forget this moment for the rest of their lives. The moment the volcanic crater erupted, Lin Chun held 4 to 5 seasoning bottles in one hand and threw them into the air. After being hit by the first wave of high temperature, the jade bottles suddenly exploded. The seasoning that filled the sky scattered on the huge skewer of grilled dragon tendon grass, making sizzling sounds. After the volcanic crater blew, the spicy fragrance of the grilled dragon tendon grass swept through the entire True Dragon Mountain. Time seemed to have stopped at this moment. The youth grabbed the stone platform with one hand and stood several thousand feet above the ground. He held a silver steel skewer and flipped the steel skewer on the volcanic crater, roasting the dragon tendon grass. The volcanic lava flows to grill the dragon tendon grass done. Chapter 62. Among the examinees, a certain person couldn't help but clap. In the front, there's this Ling's wire flicking the east wind, and behind, there's this Lin's volcano roasting gluten. So coquettish, so coquettish. It smells so good. At the edge of the cliff outside True Dragon Mountain, The green-clothed girl's delicate nose gently sniffed the spicy fragrance that drifted over. Her beautiful eyes lit up, filled with extraordinary splendor. This fragrance is fused with the purity of that mental energy, so it seems to make one's mouth water. The purple-clothed girl smiled elegantly. Her delicate and soft hands waved away the light purple battle chi, protecting the girl beside her and herself. After a few rounds, Lin Shun pulled back the steel skewer. When he smelled that extraordinary fragrance, he couldn't help but eat heartily. Looking at Lin Shun, who was wolfing down the food, everyone present was dumbstruck. Gulp! The teeth of the instructors at the bottom of True Dragon Mountain chattered as they swallowed their saliva with difficulty. Using dragon tendon grass as a barbecue and using a volcano as a barbecue rack, since ancient times, was there a second person? In this mortal world, other than this Lin Shun, there was probably no second person who could do such a thing that overturned the ages. The instructors and elders of the alchemy department were in a daze, their faces pale. The value of these 1,000 portions of dragon tendon grass was no less than a green-level pill, refining handprint. There's actually such a strange man in this world. Shangguan Bihan covered her red lips with both hands, her beautiful eyes shining with extraordinary splendor. He's actually still moving forward. Some examinees discovered that Lin Shun was actually continuing to charge upwards, and couldn't help but be shocked. 5,000, 5,200, 5,500 steps. Lin Shun carried his super long roasted gluten and ate as he climbed up the mountain. In the end, he actually disappeared from everyone's sight. Even with the use of battle chi, it was difficult to find his figure with the naked eye. He's reached the 6,000th step. Even the vice principal's face was full of seriousness, and he took in a cold breath with every word. 20,000 feet above True Dragon Mountain, a youth's figure flashed past and landed steadily on the stone platform. Lin Shun carried the 1,000 portions of dragon tendon grass, singing loudly all the way to the 8,000th step with an unstoppable momentum. There must be some treasure at the top of this mountain. Is it another characteristic rune? The excited Lin Shun opened his mouth and bit down on a few skewers of roasted dragon tendons. His draconic might crumbled even further as he rushed towards the peak at full speed. By the time he reached the 9,500th step, Lin Shun had already finished eating all of his roasted dragon tendons. He burped in satisfaction, and then his eyes narrowed. True flame purple phoenix wings go. Chi! A pair of blazing purple wings appeared in the air. Lin Shun leapt into the air like a meteor breaking through the sky. In a single breath, he rushed up the 9,600 steps of the stone platform and reached the top. The peak of True Dragon Mountain was a steep slope. The dragon's might here was vast and filled with intense spiritual energy fluctuations, transmitting the mighty dragon's will. It was supreme, and its might was still lingering. The dragon's might here was tyrannical. Even the vice principal and bald elder didn't dare to rashly take the test. However, Lin Shun stepped on this place without any pressure. Lin Shun was ready for battle. When he activated his purple-gold pupils, he discovered that there was a kind of energy similar to the fluctuation of life on the mountain peak. However, this energy was too weak and minute to the extent that it could be ignored. Walking to the other side of the slope of the mountain peak, Lin Shun saw a white ball of light floating in the air. Beside the white ball of light, there was a banner. That minute fluctuation of life was emitted from the white ball of light. What is this thing? Lin Shun frowned. After confirming that the ball of light didn't seem to be a living thing and wouldn't pose a threat to him, he slowly approached it and placed his hand on top of the white ball of light. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The sound of energy flowing entered his ears. This white ball of light actually passed through Lin Shun's left arm and merged into his body. Boom! Crack, crack. A pure spiritual energy, like a dragon returning to the sea, merged into Lin Shun's body. His spiritual energy burst forth with the sound of an eggshell cracking. After the first crack, a spiritual fluctuation that was several times stronger than the previous one emerged. The host has received 20,000 points of spiritual energy. His spiritual realm has broken through to the spiritual realm. My spiritual energy has broken through to the spiritual realm. Lin Chun was delighted. This white ball of light was actually pure spiritual energy. When he had picked up a large number of spiritual energy balls at the Treasure Appraisal Convention in Wanling City, Lin Chen's spiritual energy was very close to the spiritual realm. This time, with the help of the spiritual energy in this white ball of light, he stepped into the spiritual realm in one go. Suddenly, a huge tearing pain spread from Lin Chen's dantian to his entire body. Lin Chun instantly fell to the ground. Hiss! It hurts! What is this? Lin Chun hurriedly used his battle chi to look inside his body. In his dantian, other than the endless sea of energy, a pale white ring was gradually forming. After this ring formed, Lin Chen's pain gradually disappeared, making him break out in cold sweat. After carefully sizing up the white ring, Lin Chun discovered that when he used his Azure Dragon bloodline, his bloodline would actually gather towards the white ring. The Azure Dragon bloodline only filled 1/10 of the white ring, and there was no other reaction. This ring has formed some kind of connection with my Azure Dragon bloodline. Other than that, Lin Chun didn't discover any other problems. Lin Chun asked the system, but even the system didn't know anything about the white ring in his dantian. This made him very puzzled. The white ring in his dantian couldn't be driven away or destroyed. He didn't know whether it was a blessing or a curse. Perhaps when his Azure Dragon bloodline reached a certain level of strength and completely filled it, he might be able to find out what this thing was. Damn it! Being possessed by such an inexplicable thing really makes me feel uncomfortable all over. Lin Chun stood up and slightly released his spiritual energy. The range of his perception was several times wider than before. My spiritual energy breaking through to the spiritual realm is not a small gain. Retracting his spiritual perception, Lin Chun walked forward. When he uncovered the banner, shock appeared in his eyes. So it's a man. At the bottom of True Dragon Mountain, after controlling the position of the examinees and ensuring their safety, Bald Elder and the Vice Principal looked at each other. This kid has been up there for so long and still hasn't come down. Could something have happened? Don't worry, this kid has a lot of trump cards. If something happened up there, there will definitely be a big commotion. Let's wait and see. This Sky Dragon Mountain has a long history. This kid might not. While the two were still discussing, an afterimage rushed down from the top of True Dragon Mountain. Everyone looked carefully and saw that it was Lin Chun. Good kid. I actually let you run to the top of True Dragon Mountain. Are you all right? Vice Principal immediately sized up Lin Chun and found that this kid was full of energy and in high spirits. He didn't look like someone who was not all right. Examinee Lin Chun greets Vice Principal and Senior Bald Elder. Lin Chun was neither servile nor overbearing. He held the banner and cupped his fist. Many teachers and elders also gathered around. The examinees were even more expectant as they stared at Lin Chun with anticipation. Kid, since you're all right, can you tell this old man what's at the top of True Dragon Mountain? Bald Elder stared straight at Lin Chun and stroked his chin as he asked. Lin Chun, kid, don't worry. Whatever you get up there is your opportunity. We won't snatch it. If you feel that telling us will cause unnecessary trouble, you have the right to refuse. Vice Principal smiled gently and gave Lin Chun a way out. Lin Chun shook his head and smiled indifferently. He then passed the banner over and shrugged his shoulders. There's only this banner up there. There's nothing else. Vice Principal took the banner and opened it. Everyone looked at it together. The banner was engraved with 4 handsome sentences and a short string of explanations. Vice Principal, teachers, elders, and the examinees who saw the banner for the first time read it out in unison. Boundlessly handsome, the heavens as the shore, the mountains as the peak, I am the peak. Millions of handsome, passed down through the ages. Single player, seeking defeat. Signed, millions of single-player king. If you want to inherit my handsomeness, please add 479-51424. Everyone's expression changed from bewilderment to shock. Boundlessly handsome, the heavens as the shore, the mountains as the peak. I am the peak. I'm the heavens, I'm the peak, I'm the highest. This senior is so domineering. But what's the meaning of millions of handsome, passed down through the ages? Single player, seeking defeat? Could it be that the owner of this banner is so handsome that no one can rival him? Bullshit. What do you know? How could an existence that can reach the top of True Dragon Mountain emphasize the word handsome? There must be a secret hidden in this banner. The examinees and teachers were all shocked and amazed. The secret of True Dragon Mountain was not even completely unraveled by Heavenly Song Academy. Today, such a mysterious banner was actually taken down. At this time, another examinee asked in doubt. This senior said that he still has an inheritance? What's the meaning of 479-5144? Don't think too much. This kind of existence is unfathomable. It's not something that we mortals can figure out. Suddenly, Lin Shen coughed in a serious manner. Everyone looked at him. At this time, Lin Shen looked up at the sky at a 45-degree angle and said seriously in a melancholy and deep voice, I heard that in this world, there's a small group of people who are shockingly handsome. They're rare in the world. Only this group of people can find an ancient divine beast penguin and unlock this secret. The examinees were anxious and expectant. They asked in unison, Then how can we find that ancient divine beast penguin? I don't know either. Lin Shen suddenly shook his head in a very lonely manner. Everyone was startled. They only heard Lin Chun sigh deeply. Because I'm not handsome enough. Chapter 63. Lin Chun had just finished sighing when he suddenly felt a familiar, yet unfamiliar energy fluctuation. He was startled and turned around to look. He activated his purple-gold pupils and looked 100 miles away. In a mountain range that had been ravaged by the volcanic lava, on top of a cliff dozens of li away from True Dragon Mountain, two otherworldly, beautiful figures entered Lin Chen's eyes. Among the two figures, Z.E. and the other two had a huge amount of energy hidden in their delicate bodies. Lin Chun was very familiar with this energy. It was a characteristic rune. At this moment, the two girls had already started to turn around and leave. Their movement techniques were superb and unpredictable. In the blink of an eye, Lin Chun had already reached 1,000 meters away. If it wasn't for his purple-gold pupils being high enough, he wouldn't even be able to catch their shadows. Beauties, please stay. The matter related to the characteristic rune was extremely important. Lin Chen didn't care that he was in front of everyone. He leaped into the air, and the true flame purple phoenix wings spread out. He streaked across the horizon and turned into a purple meteor that chased after the two girls at an extreme speed. Oh my God, that Lin Chen flew away. He can actually fly. What is his cultivation level? Phoenix wings? How can this brat have such a thing? No, that direction is. The examinees and mentors were all shocked. Only the vice principal's expression changed greatly. Everyone listened to my orders. You are not allowed to go near Lin Chen's direction or area. Disperse immediately. The vice headmaster suddenly shouted, causing the examinees to be filled with terror. Old Chow, what's going on? Bald Elder was completely baffled by the vice principal's actions, and he questioned, I don't know where this brat got his ability. He seems to have sensed the existence of those two. The vice principal said with a serious face. Bald Elder seemed to have thought of the certain forces he mentioned earlier, and his expression suddenly changed. You mean the two girls from there? Bald Elder lowered his voice, afraid that a third person would hear him. The vice principal nodded seriously. He was also frightened by Lin Chen's action. At this point, Bald Elder already knew what to do. He evacuated all the examinees, teachers, and elders. They could not stay any longer. As for the vice dean, he stood still and observed Lin Chen's situation. Lin Chen caught up with the two mysterious women who had been watching from the cliff. Although they were fast, They were still within the range of Lin Chen's purple-golden pupils, as if limited by their cultivation. The speed of the true flame purple phoenix wings was unleashed to the extreme. Lin Chen only used a dozen breaths to close in on them. Sister, that Lin Chen actually discovered us and even caught up to us. The green-clothed girl turned around in surprise. The purple-clothed girl's beautiful figure paused, and her movement stopped. The two girls stopped beside a small stream. Boom! The true flame purple phoenix wings flapped. Lin Chen stopped and landed in front of the two girls. He looked at the purple-clothed girl excitedly, and the first sentence he said was astonishing. "Miss, can I touch you for a while?" The two girls thought that he had chased over for some important matter. They did not expect that he would suddenly say such a teasing and indecent sentence. "Letcher, you want to tease my sister? I thought you were a strange person. I didn't expect you to be a despicable person." The green-clothed girl, wearing a veil, glared at Lin Chen and scolded coldly with a frosty face. "Oh, little girl, it's a misunderstanding. I have received strict professional training. I don't molest girls easily." Lin Chen hurriedly waved his hand and stole a glance at the woman in purple. Her exquisite and perfect figure and her ethereal temperament made her look like a fairy that had descended from the heavens. She was so stunning that Lin Chen couldn't help but add a sentence. "Unless I can't help it." The green-clothed girl held her forehead and circulated her battle chi. She was about to teach Lin Chen a lesson when the purple-clothed girl waved her hand and stopped her. She slowly took a step forward. "In the short span of 2 months, you advanced from the chi refinement realm to the spirit detecting realm, injured the sect leader of a battle soul realm sect, destroyed the entire blood sect by yourself, saved the appraiser family of the wasteland, turned the tide in the treasure appraisal conference, and personally created a person with the bloodline of the Azure Dragon. Your actions are unusual and unique. Along the way, there should be many girls who have interacted with you or were attracted to you. Why are you joking? Mr. Lin Chen, I hope you can give me a reasonable explanation. I can pretend that you didn't say anything." The purple-clothed girl casually listed Lin Chen's various deeds. He was so scared that he took a few steps back with a frightened face. "Wow, this fairy, although everyone knows that I am very handsome, you don't have to be like this. Being a stalker is not a good hobby at all. You're making me look back 3 times when I go to the toilet at night. Hey, do you have any shame? Why would my elder sister like an ordinary person like you? Even if you are shameless, there should be a limit to your shamelessness." The green-clothed girl was so angry at Lin Chen that she stomped her feet. The purple-clothed girl, on the other hand, was calm and composed, as if she was not affected at all. She elegantly smiled. "You are indeed very interesting, but you still haven't answered my question." Lin Chen was startled. He shrugged his shoulders and shamelessly smiled. "I just have this kind of hobby. When I see a beautiful girl, I just want to touch her. How about Miss Fairy Considerate? Any position is fine, even hair is fine. I swear on my character that I will just touch her once. You can have any reward you want, because I, Lin Chen, am also an alchemist." Lin Chen revealed his identity, and the purple-clothed girl's beautiful eyes slightly narrowed. "You are also an alchemist? Fine, I want a rank 7 pill. If you can take it out, I will consider your conditions." Holy shit. Lin Chen's eyelids twitched a few times. Rank 7 pill? Even if he sold himself to a duck's nest, he wouldn't be able to get 1 in 10,000. Just where did these two great aunties come from? This a rank 7 pill is a bit difficult. If you can write an IOU, it won't be a problem. Lin Chen rubbed his hands. The purple-clothed girl gave a rare, playful smile. "Then there is no room for discussion?" "Yes, Miss Fairy's request is a bit too much. Regardless of whether there is room for discussion or not, I will definitely touch you today." Lin Chen's expression turned serious. Since the other party had no intention of negotiating, he would use the hard method if the soft method didn't work. A real man should be able to be soft and hard. This girl's body had a characteristic rune fluctuation, and it was even stronger than the previous 2 times. It was definitely a very strong characteristic rune. Lin Shen only needed to circulate the rune's energy the moment he touched the other party's body, and he would have a chance to obtain the characteristic rune. I think you are the five elements despicable. The green-clothed girl's tone turned cold as she rubbed her fists. Wrong. This handsome guy is the five elements despicable, and I especially want to touch beautiful girls. Lin Shen patted his chest and said righteously, You? Seeing the green-clothed girl's rare, deflated appearance, the purple-clothed girl covered her mouth and chuckled. Then she said again, Sure, I will give you 100 rounds. With your strength, if you can touch me, then I will let you touch me. In the elegant and ethereal laughter, there was a calmness that could calm the winds and clouds and control the situation. Lin Shen stared at the purple-clothed girl's eyes, and his pupils suddenly shrank. Chapter 64. Oh, since the beauty has given me a chance, then I will definitely guarantee that I won't touch the important parts. Lin Shen touched the tip of his nose, and his expression gradually became serious. This fairy-like woman was very strong. This was a fact that Lin Shen's intuition and instinct had told him. Most importantly, she was only at the War Soul stage, but she did not drop any attribute light balls. This proved that there was an extremely terrifying gap between the other party and him. Chinger, you can leave. The purple-clothed woman waved her hand lightly, and the green-clothed girl nodded obediently. Then, she looked at Lin Shen with a teasing gaze. No one knew better than him how powerful his sister was. In the direction of the true Dragon Mountain. This brat is actually going to fight with those two. The vice principal walked in the air. His pupils trembled as he watched this scene with trepidation. If the other party suffered any losses, it would not be something that his Heavenly Song Academy's branch in the Wasteland could compare to. After Bald Elder finished arranging for all the examinees and instructors to leave, he also came to the vice principal's side. Before he could speak, a loud explosion came from afar. Lin Shen took the lead. Bang! Boom! The ground shattered. The shockwave exploded. Purple flames surged into the sky and surged past. Lin Shen did not plan to hold back this time. He maintained the state of the true flame purple phoenix wings and superimposed his movement technique. His speed was many times faster than before. Purple flames filled the air. In the air that was burning intensely, the youth's slightly fair palm reached out and attacked the purple-clothed woman's chest. Shameless, the green-clothed girl gritted her teeth, but the purple-clothed woman remained calm. Lin Shen planned to copy the plan he used to deal with Li Ruolian. First, he would disturb the other party's state of mind, and then he would scheme against the other party. Let's go. The purple-clothed woman's slender fingers gently lifted, and a transparent battle chi wave popped out of thin air. Chi! Bang! The surrounding area was instantly shattered by the shock waves of battle chi, and the ferocious force sent Lin Shen, who was attacking at high speed, flying. What a powerful battle chi! However, it's still within my expectations. Lin Shen twisted his body in the air. When the true flame purple phoenix wings flapped, his entire body turned into a streak of light and almost instantly arrived behind the woman. Lin Shen attacked with lightning speed, his 5 fingers already leaving behind afterimages as he attacked the purple-clothed woman's waist-length hair. Left, right, right. The purple-clothed woman gracefully turned around, her body moving gracefully like a graceful swan with endless transformations. Her slender and perfect waist instantly dodged all of Lin Shen's attacks. What? Lin Shen didn't believe it. His purple-gold eyes activated the purple lightning realm, and his spiritual energy was released to the extreme. With the two combined, he could even accurately detect the movements of the purple-clothed woman's hair. Lin Shen's palm struck her waist, and the purple-clothed woman seemed to have predicted Lin Shen's actions in advance. Like a fish leaping through the dragon's gate, she nimbly turned around in the air above Lin Shen's head. Lin Shen's palm missed, and her slender hand grabbed Lin Shen by the back of his collar. The purple-clothed woman spun in the air and threw Lin Chun to the ground with a loud bang. The ground cracked, and strong winds rolled up in all directions. Lin Chun was shaken to the point that his blood and qi were churning, and his face was full of disbelief. It wasn't his own prediction, but his actions were completely predicted by the opponent, and she defeated them one by one. Could it be that her spiritual energy is higher than mine? Or does she have a secret appraisal technique that's even stronger than the purple gold eyes? Do I have to use the slowing rune now? Thousands of thoughts flashed through Lin Chen's mind, but in the end he still didn't believe it and fiercely gritted his teeth. As long as I have enough strength and speed, even if you predict my actions, it's useless. Azure Dragon Bloodline, release. The slowing rune was Lin Chen's only trump card. The opponent's background was not ordinary, and if he didn't succeed the first time, there wouldn't be a second time. Lin Chun decided to hold back for now. Roar. A dragon's roar that shook the ages tore through the sky, and a ferocious and violent azure dragon arm appeared. This time, Lin Chun decisively released 80% of his strength, 400,000 tiger power. This hooligan strength is really strong, and he's even stronger than the mortals my sister and I have seen before. The green-clothed girl silently commented from the side. Phoenix wings and dragon arm. What a strange combination. How can a mortal's body contain two completely different strengths? The purple-clothed woman was surprised, and Lin Chen's azure dragon arm suddenly smashed over. 400,000 tiger power erupted from within the azure dragon arm, destroying everything in its path, splitting rivers and overturning seas. A strong wind swept up the water in the small stream, and it sprinkled down from the sky. The purple-clothed woman's expression did not change, and her beautiful eyes under the veil shone with a noble light that ruled over everything. 100 Flowers chaotic dance. Her jade-like hand was placed horizontally in front of her, and countless flowers danced chaotically. They were like flickering lights and passing shadows, dancing on Lin Chen's massive azure dragon arm. The terrifying, destructive, spinning force blew Lin Chen and his azure dragon arm into the sky. What kind of joke is this? I've already released 80% of my blood meridians, and it can still remove all of my strength. Lin Chen, who was spinning rapidly in the air, felt a little dizzy from the spinning, and a smear of shock appeared in his heart. The power of his palm strike earlier was already at the late stage of the Earth Realm, and even a 7th or 8th level Earth Realm expert would not be able to receive it so easily. Lin Chen was even more unwilling. The true flame's purple phoenix wings flapped, and his body turned into an afterimage in the air. He raised his azure dragon arm and slammed in all directions, hitting the purple-clothed woman on the ground. Boom, boom, boom. The azure dragon arm caused the ground to collapse and shatter in all directions. The vice principal and bald elder were shocked. They were shocked at Lin Chen's strength. This child's spirit connection realm cultivation was actually able to burst out with destructive power that regular Earth realm experts didn't have. At the same time, they were even more afraid that Lin Chen would injure the purple-clothed woman. If that great aunt was injured, the entire college would be in trouble. But under the continuous attacks of the azure dragon arm, the purple-clothed woman didn't even get a single scratch. She leisurely dodged all the attacks with lotus steps. In a transparent battle, Qi revolved around her, deflecting all the flying rocks. After the azure dragon arm struck violently, Lin Chen used all his strength to use his mental energy to detect the opponent's movements. After dozens of strikes, there were already signs of his mental energy being exhausted and his qi and blood being exhausted. With his current body refinement strength, it wasn't enough to support the azure dragon arm at full power for too long. Wait a minute. Let's take a break. Lin Chen panted as he withdrew his azure dragon arm and True Flame's purple phoenix wings. He landed on the ground and simply sat on the ground, shouting for a stop midway. Hey, how can you be like this? The green-clothed girl stood in front of the purple-clothed woman and glared at Lin Chen. Forget it, Ching, let him be. It's already been 75 rounds. It's okay to rest midway. After all, it's a fact that my cultivation is higher than his. If I'm too harsh on him, it'll be unfair to him instead. The purple-clothed woman pulled the green-clothed girl over. The latter wanted to say something, but seeing her elder sister's insistence, she could only obediently retreat. If this goes on, I might not even be able to touch her. How can I touch her? Do I have to gamble everything and use the slowing rune and Azure Dragon Bloodline's full power? Lin Chen shook his head dejectedly. The opponent's strength was unfathomable. Even her battle chi was so strong that it was on another level. They were both in the Battle Soul realm, but compared to the Battle Soul realm that Lin Chen had encountered before, the difference was like the difference between a firefly and the moon. Even if he used the slowing rune, he didn't have 100% confidence that he could get close to her. Chapter 65. Judging from her movements just now, even if I stake everything and use the full strength of the Azure Dragon arm, I won't be able to break through her defense and touch her. What should I do? No matter if it's spiritual power or battle chi, I'm not as good as her. Unless I learn the Dragon Clan's divine ability from the true Dragon Mountain, I won't even be able to break through her defense. Lin Shun shook his head and took out a few skewers of roasted dragon tendons from the 4 rooms ring. He took a few bites to vent his dissatisfaction. Dragon tendon grass could replenish the spiritual power that was depleted, and it was more effective than elixirs. When the girl in green saw Lin Chun take out the roasted dragon tendons, her eyes lit up. Even the girl in purple looked at him curiously. The 2 girls' gazes made Lin Chun have a thought. The plan was set. Lin Chun finished the roasted dragon tendons in 2 to 3 bites, clapped his hands, and stood up with a smile. Come, I've rested enough this time. There's still more than 20 rounds left. I'll touch you. You can't do it. You're very outstanding, but it's only limited to this desolate region. The girl in purple looked ethereal. Under the veil, a pair of beautiful eyes flashed as she looked at Lin Chun indifferently. Then let's try it. Flapping the true flame purple phoenix wings, Lin Chen's speed reached the extreme again. The Azure Dragon tattoo on his left arm flickered. The Azure Dragon arm slammed through the air like lightning. In the end, it's only brute force. Looks like I've overestimated you. The girl in purple shook her head slightly. Her jade finger pointed lightly, and a transparent battle chi wave released an ancient pressure, instantly suppressing Lin Chen's Azure Dragon arm. Whoosh! Suddenly, the sound of rushing wind was heard, and an afterimage pierced toward the girl in purple like lightning. She scanned with her spiritual power and couldn't help but be startled. That thing that flew over was actually the roasted dragon tendons that she was slightly interested in. Just as her consciousness paused for a moment, a grayish-white talisman popped out of thin air. The talisman fluctuated and had the power to seal demons and suppress demons. The host has activated the level 1 slow rune, consuming 3,000 rune energy. This time, Lin Shun used the maximum amount of rune energy that a level 1 characteristic rune could bear to forcefully delay the purple-clothed woman. It was also at this moment that Lin Chen's speed increased by another notch. In the time it took for a spark to fly off a piece of flint, he retracted the Azure Dragon arm. He pounced towards the purple-clothed woman. At the critical moment, the purple-robed lady's delicate body trembled slightly. The slow rune effect, which was able to delay a late-stage Earth Realm expert, was instantly shattered. The moment Lin Chen's fingertips were about to touch her, she instantly turned into an afterimage and disappeared. In the next moment, the beautiful figure of the purple-clothed woman appeared 1,000 meters away. Her long hair was like a waterfall, and she smiled gracefully. I've really underestimated you. You must have used this secret technique to destroy the blood sect that day, right? No, big sister, you were still touched by him. The green-clothed girl suddenly exclaimed in shock. Lin Chun, who had fallen to the ground in the air, revealed a smile. He raised his hand. When he opened his palm, there was a strand of light purple hair, soft and smooth. Host has received a level 1 characteristic rune, Recharge Rune. Recharge Rune consumes a large amount of rune energy to recharge the host. It can increase the host's offensive battle skill power by 110% to 200%. When the system screen popped up, Lin Chen's body shook. This characteristic rune's effect was much more direct than the slow and corrode runes. It directly increased the attack power of the battle skill by several folds. However, the surprise was not over yet. The strand of the purple-clothed woman's hair condensed into a purple attribute light ball in Lin Chen's hand. It automatically fused into Lin Chen's body. Ka! The sound of something breaking through shackles came from Lin Chen's body. His battle chi realm had increased again. Host has received 186,000 battle chi essences. Host has automatically advanced to level 6 of the spirit detection realm. What a terrifying amount. Just a single attribute light ball from a few strands of hair gave me over 180,000 battle chi essences, compared to those so-called genius candidates. Who knows how many times stronger I am? Lin Chen stared at the purple-clothed woman in shock. This was the first time he wasn't confident he could win against someone of the same age. There was an absolute difference in strength between the two of them. I didn't think that you would still encounter me. You actually used food to distract me. This trick isn't some brilliant technique. The purple-clothed woman waved her hand. The roasted dragon tendon that Lin Chen had thrown out earlier was still in her hand. The method doesn't matter if it's good or bad, as long as it's useful. Since the lady is interested in it, why not try it? Lin Chen grinned and stood up to pat the dust off his body. The purple-clothed woman hesitated for a moment before turning around and lifting her veil slightly. The beautiful scenery under the veil caused Lin Chen to be stunned. Her lips were cherry red. Her white teeth were slightly open as she gently chewed on the roasted dragon tendon grass. Lin Chen couldn't help but sigh. A fairy is a fairy. Even eating roasted gluten can be so beautiful. The texture is unique. It's crispy on the outside and tender on the inside. It's a very unique delicacy. This is the first time I've eaten a delicacy with such a unique character. After carefully tasting it, the purple-clothed woman was full of praise. The green-clothed girl subconsciously swallowed. Thank you for the compliment. Lin Chen saw the green-clothed girl's reaction and raised his eyebrows playfully. What, you want to eat it too? Come. Let Big Brother touch it, and I'll let you eat it. Hey, rogue, you still want to molest this lady? You're looking for a beating. Wah, little grandaunt, how can you hit me? Damn, you're even touching my feet. That's too much. The green-clothed girl wasn't as easy to talk to as the purple-clothed woman. Her strength was also unfathomable. The moment she came up, she fiercely beat Lin Chen. Lin Chen couldn't take more than a few moves before he had to obediently hand over the roasted gluten to save his life. Oof, at least you know your place. This lady won't hold it against you for trying to take liberties with Big Sister. The satisfied green-clothed girl bounced back to the purple-clothed woman's side. Chinger, it's getting late. We should go. The purple-clothed woman smiled helplessly. The green-clothed girl said reluctantly, Don't, Big Sister. Why don't we bring this Lin Chen back and make this delicacy for us every day? Hearing this conversation, Lin Chen was so scared that he broke out in a cold sweat. What was the background of this green-clothed girl? The moment she opened her mouth, she wanted to take him away and completely ignored his wishes, treating this young master as a pet. Ching-er, if you continue to make trouble, Big Sister will send you back in advance. The purple-clothed woman's tone became more serious. The green-clothed girl immediately shrank back to her side and acted coquettishly. I say, fairy, who are you people? What's your name? Lin Chen asked curiously. You don't need to know. If you can surpass the Heaven Star border realm, you will naturally know our identity. However, it might be difficult for us to meet again in this life. Hee, that's hard to say. Tell me your name, and see if I will find you a second time. No comment. I'll use the method of roasting gluten in exchange. I'll say it. My big sister's name is Ning Qingxian, and I'm Ning Qingxue. The method of roasting gluten did attract the green-clothed girl's attention, but she answered first in high spirits. The purple-clothed woman was helpless. If this continued, who knew how much information this girl would get from this Lin Shun? After thinking, she floated up and left with the green-clothed girl. Lin Shun looked at the backs of the two girls and muttered to himself, Ning Qingxian, huh? I'll remember it. Chapter 66. After the two girls left, Lin Shun put away his true flame purple phoenix wings. After he broke through to the spirit realm, he could faintly feel that there were two eyes locked onto him during the battle. It must be the higher-ups of the academy, or maybe the vice principal. Now that I've obtained a new characteristic rune, it doesn't matter if I expose some of my trump cards. I'll find a place to cultivate the new dragon race's divine ability. Lin Shun activated his movement technique and disappeared into the tattered bamboo forest. Bald Elder and the vice principal, who had watched the battle between Lin Shun and the purple-clothed girl, looked at each other and clicked their tongues in wonder. I didn't expect that this little guy actually dared to fight with those two girls. Could it be that he's also from that place? Looking at his nature, he shouldn't have that kind of bloodline and temperament. However, this kid's strength is really terrifying. Just in our wasteland, he's enough to be called an unparalleled genius. Even in the whole 24 regions, he could be considered a top-notch existence. If this kid enters the academy, it'll be lively this year. Bald Elder and the vice principal didn't delve into the matter on True Dragon Mountain. After all, after seeing that enigmatic banner, both of them thought that the treasure that once existed on True Dragon Mountain had already been taken away by the owner of the banner. There was less than half of the examination time left. Less than 4 days passed in a flash. In the Valley of Termination, in front of two ancient stone pillars, the mentors and examinees were all gathered here. The examination was about to end, and today was the day to verify the results. Some examinees were whispering, using their family's wealth to buy extra dragon tendon grass from the examinees who had extra. The mentors ignored this action, which could be considered as tacit approval. However, there are very few examinees who could really find more than 5 dragon tendon grass. Therefore, the majority of these dragon tendon grass transactions were done by examinees who only found 1 or 2 dragon tendon grass in the examination. They gave up on the examination and sold it to those who needed it so that they wouldn't return empty-handed. Now, we will begin to accept the dragon tendon grass. Please line up. Before the sun sets today, examinees who haven't arrived at the Valley of Termination will be considered to have failed the examination. The mentors and elders lined up in pairs and began to accept the dragon tendon grass. Xia Danyang, 5 dragon tendon grass. If you pass the examination, you will receive 50 credits and an outer court student jade token. Lung Ming, 6 dragon tendon grass. If you pass the test, you will receive 60 credits and an outer court student jade token. The examinees who passed the test were given a student jade token. After dripping a drop of blood on it, they were all arranged to stand behind the 2 stone pillars. After the examinees passed through the stone pillars, they would transform into ripples and disappear. It didn't really disappear, but there was a huge formation behind the stone pillar. After passing through it, one would arrive at the Heavenly Song Academy that countless people dreamed of. By the time it was afternoon, there were only 8,000 candidates who had passed the examination. Compared to the 80,000 who had participated in the examination at the beginning, only 1/10 of them had passed. Bai Juanhao and Shangwan Bihan stood in the crowd, looking around. At this time, they still hadn't seen Lin Chen's figure, making them a little nervous. Dusk shrouded the area, and the examination results were about to end. Is there no one else? Then this test is officially over. There's still me. Just as the instructor was about to announce the results, the silver-robed youth descended from the sky. It's actually you." When the group of elders and instructors saw that the person who had come was Lin Shun, they couldn't help but gnash their teeth in anger. This brat had eaten over 1,000 portions of dragon tenengrass. He had caused the Academy's alchemy department to suffer heavy losses. Seeing Lin Chen's arrival, Bai Juanhao and Shangwan Bihan heaved a sigh of relief as if a heavy burden had been lifted from their shoulders. "Brat, hand over all the remaining dragon tendon grass on you to make up for your previous losses. Otherwise, don't blame the elders for being impolite to you." Several alchemy department elders threatened Lin Shun in low voices. He raised his brows. "Fine. You dare to threaten me, Lin Shun. Yi Lin Shun, don't mind playing with you." When those dejected examinees who had failed the examination saw Lin Shun and saw him, they gnashed their teeth in hatred. The main reason why they didn't pass the examination was Lin Shun. It was because he had taken away a portion of the dragon tendon grass from True Dragon Mountain. In fact, Lin Shun's dragon tendon grass was obtained from a treasure chest he had picked up himself. Similar to the attribute light ball, it didn't affect him at all. Mediocre people were just looking for excuses. When everyone saw the alchemy department instructors and elders glaring at Lin Shun, the examinees who had been eliminated looked at him gloatingly and stopped at the scene. Some of the prodigies who had ascended True Dragon Mountain also stayed at the scene and waited. They looked at Lin Shun with anticipation. As for Lu Jianxing, he looked at Lin Shun as if he wanted to kill him. "Examinee Lin Shun, please hand over the amount of dragon tendon grass you have." The alchemy department instructors said indifferently. Unexpectedly, Lin Shun scratched his head awkwardly and grinned. Aya. Luckily, I've been searching hard for the past few days. I've finally collected enough dragon tendon grass for the examination." Lin Shun rummaged through his clothes and finally took out 5 stalks of dragon tendon grass. He placed them in front of the instructors and elders. The corners of their mouths twitched violently. There were only 5 of them. He had eaten more than 1,000 stalks before. Even if he didn't have enough, he should have at least a few hundred stalks on him. "Brat, how dare you trick us?" Several elders glared at him. Lin Shun stepped back in fear. He looked like a child who had made a mistake. Elder, I really don't have any more. I only have this much dragon tendon grass." Who would believe that? Not to mention the elders, even the eliminated examinees rolled their eyes. "You roasted more than 1,000 stalks, and now you only have 5 stalks? How dare you trick us? Today, we'll beat you up and search your body." 2 elders stepped forward. Lin Shun quickly shouted, "Hey, what do you think you're doing? Heavenly Song Academy's seniors are bullying their guests. Don't come any closer. If you come any closer, I'll shout for help." Seeing Lin Xinxing's wonderful acting skills, bald elder and the vice principal laughed. They knew that with this kid's strength, he was not afraid of ordinary elders and instructors. All right. Lin Xin brat, according to the exam rules, you have to hand over all the dragon tendon grass. The Academy will buy it from you in the form of credits. Credits can be used to buy any resources you want in the Academy. If you secretly hide dragon tendon grass, once discovered, you will be disqualified from the exam. Elder Bald tried to smooth things over with a smile. Lin Chen spread his hands. "But I really don't have any more. If you don't believe me, I'll open my spirit storage ring and show it to you." Lin Shan removed his spiritual imprint and handed over his only 2 spirit storage rings. Even Elder Bald was stunned. Did this brat really only have 5 stalks left? An elder of the alchemy department rushed up and took his spirit storage ring. He opened it and released everything inside. Some bottles of elixirs and herbs fell out. In addition, there were some seasonings for barbecue, some strange things, and some books. The contents of the books were unbearable to look at, like My Widowed Sister-in-Law, 88 Kinds of Hidden Postures, What to Do If You Do It for Too Long, the collection of single king stories, the correct position of the wardrobe, and so on. The men swallowed their saliva, and the women blushed. There's really no more dragon tendon grass. Several elders of the alchemy department looked at Lin Shan in disbelief, only to find that Lin Shan was giving them a naughty smile. Their hearts suddenly tightened. It was over. This brat was going to cheat them. Chapter 67. He really didn't. Looks like this kid used up all the dragon tendon grass he had in order to ascend the true dragon mountain, the bald old man said thoughtfully. Immediately after, he waved his hand and returned all of Lin Chen's belongings to his spirit storage ring. I told you I wasn't lying. Lin Chen shrugged his shoulders in a serious manner. The faces of the elders of the alchemy faculty twitched when they saw this. This kid was as cunning as a fox. He was even winking at them just now. He must have hidden it somewhere. The treasure chests and attribute light balls that Lin Chen had picked up, as well as the items from the treasure chests, could all be placed in the system space. So, the elders couldn't find any place where Lin Chen could hide the dragon tendon grass. All right, stop making things difficult for him. Look, he's such an honest kid. I've already shown you the spirit receiving ring. What else do you want? Bald Elder seriously criticized the few elders of the medicine refinement department who were leading the group. Hearing the words honest kid, the people who were eliminated almost fainted. Lu Jianqing was so angry that he almost broke his teeth. How could someone who poured *T on his head be called an honest kid? Little bastard, when you enter the academy, we'll crush you like a maggot. The elders of the alchemy faculty left angrily. Bald Elder personally handed Lin Chen an identity jade token. Candidate Lin Chen, your performance in the assessment was outstanding. You're designated as an inner court student. The moment Bald Elder announced the result, everyone had an as expected expression. Lin Chen was arranged to be among the 7 people on the other side. These 7 people were like Lin Chen. They were all top prodigies who had been promoted to the inner court. Prince Lin Chen, congratulations on entering the inner court. I knew that big brother would definitely enter the inner court. Bai Juanhao and Shangwan Bihan walked over and congratulated Lin Chen. You guys have to work hard too. With your potential, it's only a matter of time before you enter the inner court. Lin Chen smiled and nodded at the two. Among these people, it was still too early for the 2 of them to enter the inner court. Although their potential was strong, it hadn't completely erupted yet. Prince Lin Chen, you have to be careful when you enter the inner court. Bihan, look at those elders. Shangwan Bihan was worried and wanted to say something, but Lin Chen whistled nonchalantly. You still need to worry about me? Miss Shangwan Bihan has known me for so long. When have you ever seen me suffer? Hearing Lin Chen's teasing and confident tone, Shangwan Bihan covered her mouth and chuckled. She seemed to recall the first time the 2 of them met, and her face flushed red. The academy entrance examination, where everyone had their own thoughts, had officially come to an end. Bai Juanhao and Shangwan Bihan were taken away by the mentors. The 2 of them reluctantly said goodbye to Lin Chen. The 8 chosen inner courtyard students were brought onto the griffin and began a long flight. In order to prevent Lu Jianqing and Lin Chen from fighting, the 2 of them were arranged to sit on the backs of 2 griffins. Bald Elder gave Lin Chen a simple introduction of the inner court. First of all, the credits were the entire academy's currency. Even the elders and mentors could use them to buy medicinal pills, cultivation techniques, medicinal herbs, special cultivation venues, public classes, and specialized guidance for mentors. The outer court focused on public classes and training, supplemented by group cultivation, and the method of earning credits was relatively simple. The competition in the inner court was quite intense. The missions to earn credits were many times more complicated and dangerous than the outer court. Furthermore, not all outer court students could become inner court students. Every year, only a handful of students enter the inner court, and all of them were experts. Some students spent 5 years in the outer court and left after that. There were more than 900,000 outer court students, while there were less than 10,000 inner court students. The lowest cultivation of the inner court students was at the 3rd level of the Battle Soul realm, and they were all extraordinary people. They were the elites of the elites. The top students in the inner court were all at the Earth realm. There were even some young mentors who changed their profession from the inner court to mentors and continued to stay in the academy to teach and cultivate. So that's how it is. There are so many uses for credits. There are even special cultivation venues. Lin Chun was full of amazement. He was looking forward to this trip to the academy. He wondered what kind of attribute light balls he would pick up. Boom! Passing through the clouds, the griffins brought Lin Chun and the others into a whole new world. Originally, it was already nighttime, but after passing through the clouds, they arrived at a place filled with light. Two dazzling balls of light hung in the sky. It was as if it was daytime. Mountains surrounded the sky, and pavilions stood in great numbers. Every mountain had a different attribute of spirit chi. In the center of the mountains was an ancient city. It was incomparably vast. Two suns? No, it's like an artificial sun. Holy sh*t, this is awesome. Lin Chun swallowed his saliva. He finally understood why the Heavenly Song Academy was known as the gathering place of the strongest geniuses. Cultivating in this kind of environment and foundation, even a pig would be able to cultivate and stand out from the masses. Not to mention the geniuses who were 1 in a million or 1 in 10 million. Little fellows, your identity jade tokens have marked the classes you belong to. Now, you have to rely on yourselves to familiarize yourself with the inner court. Remember, you are not allowed to fight in the academy. Coincidentally, today is the academy meeting. The entire academy has gathered. You can go and find your classes first. With a wave of his hand, Bald Elder sent Lin Chun and the others to the bottom of the academy. Lin Chun and the others were sent to the center of the city. At the center of the city, tens of thousands of inner court students were gathered there. Every class was marked with a registration plate. Damn! Lin Chun's eyes lit up. The entire plaza was filled with dazzling attribute light balls. These inner court students were all stronger than Lin Chun, but their grades were not too different. Therefore, they would more or less drop attribute light balls around them. The amount of attribute light balls gathered by tens of thousands of students was not as much as the amount Lin Chun obtained outside the Mystic Heaven City. Calm down first. No one is fighting with me for these attribute light balls. I'll catch them all in one go after they leave. Lin Chun calmed his mind and flipped open his identity jade token. On it was written, Student Lin Chun, Inner Court Class 66, Credits 5. Inner Court Class 66. Lin Chun looked around and immediately noticed that at the edge of the square there was a sign that said Class 66. The strange thing was that this Class 66 only had 23 students, which was twice as many as the other classes. Moreover, there was no living person within a kilometer. It seemed like they were isolated. Lin Chun silently walked to the last row of Class 66 and stood there. Seeing Lin Chun walk over and stand there, the red-clothed girl in the back row turned her mischievous eyes. Her eyebrows were like the faint moon, her short hair was soft, and her beautiful eyes were as bright as the stars, lively and sunny. The girl smiled and extended her snow-white hand to Lin Chun, indicating a friendly handshake. Yeah, you're the new transfer student? Yes, I'm Lin Chun. May I ask who you are? Lin Chun returned her friendly smile and shook her hand. I'm Yulin Lin. Nice to meet you. She smiled. Her palm was tender and warm. Lin Chun let go of it. There's something. Puzzled, Lin Chun stretched his hand back and found a transparent condom on his palm. Looking at its appearance, it was actually similar to the duck silk that Lin Chun bought on Earth. Lin Chun was shocked, giving him a condom as soon as they met. What did she want to do in broad daylight? I'm a pervert with principles. When a male student saw that Lin Chun dared to shake hands with this little devil, they looked as if they had seen a ghost. Did this brat not know that she was the queen of pranks of Heavenly Song Academy? Miss, if you've thought it through, you can come find me at any time. Lin Chun put more emphasis on the word connect with a serious expression. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.